Just check. Okay, it says we're live. If you can, check if it's on YouTube because I don't want to do it on my phone because I don't want it to crash. I just don't want. See if you see it dirty on YouTube or Poppy. See if you or Ozzy, any of you. See if you see it like and give it like a should be popping up. All right, I haven't done this in a while, but we're doing a. I don't even know what we're calling this thing. It's just a random podcast that could come into something in the future. But I've been wanting to do them for a while. We were going to do one on the whole Last of Us when that came out, but I just had some things happen. We didn't get to do it. This one's going to be basically about the whole next gen consoles, what we think about them, the price points. Is it better to get a PC instead of skip this whole thing? Because I've been hearing that from a lot of people. And we're gonna talk about I got Poppy on here because he's primary. Well, you're not primarily a PC guy, but you are a PC guy. You know a lot about him, and I want to hear your take because you know all about the architecture and all that of PC, and I'm pretty sure you know a lot about this stuff when you saw the specs and stuff, and just see what your point of view of things are, and everybody else in the cast. You tried to get pre-orders. You get pre-orders for the latest. Well, let's introduce everybody first. I got Poppy 2K. What's up, Poppy?
What's going on there, Dave? Thanks for having
How's
me,
it
man.
going, buddy?
Appreciate
I appreciate you being on the cast, man. Been a long time. uh, uh, Old Dirty.
Hey yo, what's up, Dave? What's up, guys on the panel? YouTube. Let's get into it.
All right, and Aussie Gamer. How's it going, Aussie?
It's been a long time. Hey, Dave. You know,
one of my
hey,
original
everyone on
fans.
YouTube. Yeah, original fans from way back when. Let's have a good time.
Oh, what's up, Real
On the
Gamer
panel.
in the chat? How's it going, buddy? What do you call it? So let's start off with basically let's start off with the whole thing with the next gen consoles and what we think about just everything let's go into like next gen console price point. Well, no, let's not talk price point yet. Let's go next gen console. Let's talk about the Xbox Series X and S. What do you guys think of it? I'll go with Poppy first.
Wow, man, I appreciate that. I think it's, in my opinion, for $499, you're getting a hell of a lot of technology that really actually hasn't been released yet on the AMD side, but you're getting a hell of a lot of technology for $499. And the fact that they're giving you those two options with the $299 and $499 price point, I think that's phenomenal. I also kind of like the fact that they're giving people options. I guess you could call it rent to own.
Oh, that's true. Yep. I
For
forgot
folks
about. I even forgot about that.
Right? So they're giving that option. I mean, I think that's a fantastic value. Microsoft is uniting their platform around essentially the future PC architectures. I mean, because look what they've done. I mean, they got AMD's latest and greatest CPU in there. Was it 16 threads, 8 cores, and then got this the RDNA 2 architecture that hasn't released yet with with the new shaders and whatnot, better lighting and overall physics. It's going to be an amazing um, uplift in generational quality just for the fact that everybody's going to have that hardware capability when you purchase an Xbox. And the S series, I mean, you're not going to miss out on any of those technological advances, save for difference in GPU performance. But if you guys all played, Xbox games and PlayStation games on Switch, I mean, essentially that's what they're going to be doing. I mean, it's all PC hardware nowadays. Forget the fact that it's customized. It's still PC related hardware and technology that's It's amazing. I mean, you're getting a lot of RAM there, right? Huge buffers. Um, I'm still anxious to see what speeds they're going to be running all that at. I know they've detailed some of that. That might change. I don't know if you guys remember the original Xbox One when it was released, how they changed the clock speeds at the last minute. And I see something similar happening with this. They're not looking to give Sony any edge, and
No, not at
it's
all.
interesting. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, man. I traded my original Xbox, and then I got the X, and I love the power uplift, but they really couldn't, or they really didn't do much with it other than give you a little bit better resolution with it. So I'm anxious to see what these new technology, lighting effects, and all that stuff does to the games and the physics, man. That just with the extra CPU performance from the Zen 2 architecture. I mean, they're gonna be doing some amazing shit. I mean, I think, like, if you guys have played Zelda Breath of the Wild, I think it's gonna be games like that on another level, man. I mean, just the
Now that
physics alone.
you mentioned this, I don't mean to cut in. I liked what you said and everything. And I agree with everything, just about pretty much everything you said. I agree with. Do you think that these consoles are going to hit 120 frames?
I mean, it really. I mean, you could say that the Xbox One, the X version, anything that can render anything that. I mean, the deciding factor is going to be the quality of the rendering object. I mean, whatever is going to be rendered on screen in the complexity of whatever is going to be rendered is what determines, based on how much power you have to render those objects, will determine the frame rates. I mean, think about that. So, I mean, yeah, hell yeah, they can run some very simplistic games and shit, maybe PS2 quality games, and render them at 120 frames. I mean, shit. I think they were basically previewing, I think, the Gears multiplayer running at 120. I mean, those graphics did not blow anybody's mind. I mean, did they?
True. So you're basically saying if it's a graphically demanding game, there's a harder chance of it hitting that. But if they're going to go with like not so much graphically demanding games can definitely hit. Well, that's what I was leaning towards, like Gears of War. I mean, not Gears of Halo, the new Halo that they showed. That's supposed to be 120, I believe. So that's what I was curious about.
I'm gonna tell you guys something, man. Everybody, and Dave, to your point on that, I think that Halo was actually targeted to run at 120 frames, and that's why the graphics looked the way they did. But when they saw how pissed off the fans were, they're like, "Holy shit, we can't show these nice ass cutscenes, and then the fucking gameplay looks like PlayStation 2, Xbox OG." You know, what people will be like, "What the fuck is this shit?" I mean, this ain't no next level shit. But
and that's why
that's gonna be interesting. Sorry. Interesting, guys.
I'm sorry. What's your thoughts of the whole next gen? And I appreciate that was really good, Poppy. That's exactly what I was curious about. Thank you, man. Ozzy, I'll let you go. What do you think of like the whole Xbox Series X and S, what you've seen so far?
Well, from what I've seen of the Xbox Series X, it is the most powerful console, out there now than the PS5. Like it's like what 30% the difference between the power, right? And as for the S, I mean, if you keep it one up, it's a good console for you, and you don't care about 4K, that's the console for you, and it's only for 1440p, right?
Yeah. So you were pretty happy with what you've seen with them, or you would be going with the X, right, if you were to get one, right?
Yeah, personally, even though I would have liked the S to have a disk drive, in it, but it is what it is.
We'll get into that. That's something else I'm going to talk about. Don't worry. We will talk about the digital part of things. I just was curious overall, like what you've seen, like what they had to offer, like so far, like just the controller, stuff like that, like and that was good. Yeah, well, continue.
Well, the controller is basically the same as the regular Xbox One. It's just it has a share button and a different D-pad,
One thing I want to note, now this is the new, this is the new one. This is the new Elite controller. My nephew has one, and I actually got to mess with it a little bit. And the battery life I heard is insane on it. Like my nephew is actually telling me last night or the night before.
Are you talking about the Elite controller?
Yeah, the Elite. I'm talking Elite controller here, the newest Elite controller. I don't know about the new controller, the other one. The new controller of the other one, does that have that's a rechargeable controller, right? Or is it still on batteries?
Still on batteries.
Oh God. Well, the Elite controller, let's just say this. He says he don't remember the last time he charged it, and it's works perfectly. So I don't know why they keep going this route of batteries if that is the case. I didn't check on that part. That's the one part I'm not. That's why I asked you guys. That's crazy. But I just want to note that out there. But thank you, Ozzy. I appreciate that. It was very good. Dirty, what do you think about the Xbox Series X and X of what you've seen so far? Like, what were you impressed or?
From what I've seen so far, yeah, I'm impressed with it. Not surprised by the price, anything like that. For the S to be, $299. That's a budget price, if you don't want to spend $500. So, you can get a machine that'll play the same games, but not in the same resolution. So, I mean, some people be happy with that. Me, I don't want it all digital. I'd rather just have, go with all the bells and whistles. You know what I'm saying? If I'm gonna go with a new machine, I might as well get all the bells and whistles with it. Other than that, I hope they show some good stuff, man. Because, like I say, with the X that I got, with the power that's in that box, Microsoft never showed too much. You know what I'm saying? Because to me, it shouldn't have been a X. Period. If they wanted to do the S, that was fine, but the X, Microsoft didn't really showcase anything to show the graphical powerhouse that they so-called say this thing has with the memory and 6 teraflops, because that was the thing. 6 teraflops was the thing this generation, and I still haven't seen anything. I mean, I've seen some nice games on the X, don't get me wrong, but I haven't seen anything that really pushes the hardware of that machine.
I agree.
So you know what I'm saying? I'm ready to see what the Series X can actually do. And Dave, me and you talked the other day, and I said that I wanted Microsoft and Sony to have, their exclusive first-party games moving forward, only exclusives for the new consoles, so we could see what these consoles can actually do. Because when you have it for last generation and then a new generation that's coming up, you're not going to get that performance that you want out of that machine until 2-3 years later. And who want to wait that long?
Right.
We never going to see the power of what the Xbox One X can do, because now we're moving on to the Series X.
Yeah, it got discontinued, right?
Yeah, they said they're going to be discontinuing it, and the S.
Well, from what I heard, the reason they discontinued it was not to make, like, from a selling point, it'd be too hard to, it would confuse buyers. Like if there was a Series X sitting there and then the current one, you know what I'm saying?
You know what? I don't know if you guys noticed this with that. So the Xbox One Series X is all black, right?
Yeah.
And then the Series S is all white.
Yes.
Correct. So basically, what they're doing is replacing those two models from the previous generation in a similar fashion. How I guess when they cell phones and shit come out, They're making it's kind of like a you know you're making like a unconscious decision there where
Mhm.
you're if you're a prospective customer and you've been seeing a bunch of Xbox commercials, all you're seeing is black and white. That's all you're seeing. You're not paying attention to details. Oh, it's X or S or whatever. You say, oh, it's a black and then a white one, and then you go to see the pricing. Oh, this one's $2.99, and oh, that one's $4.99. Shit, little Johnny or little Timmy wanted a Xbox One. Oh, I'm gonna
Yeah.
get him the cheaper one because I could get him an extra game or so with this one. And so I'm thinking that that's excellent marketing because they essentially, if you think about it, for the last 4 years they've been marketing these consoles. You just not
Yeah.
they just we who are in touch with the technology know that hey, this is an upgrade. But
Mhm.
parents
Mhm.
that don't know any better, they're like, oh, I've been seeing this shit on TV for the last year. This is what my kid wants. Okay, I got him. You know.
And it's a good price for whether how you want to look at it or not. It's different for us because we're like more hardcore gamers versus casual. That is not that's not a bad price. Like to play next gen games, $300, even though it's in 1440p. Like still, it don't matter. Like it's not bad.
Yeah.
And when did you? Okay, let's think about this. Other than I'm not talking about Nintendo, I'm talking about Microsoft and Sony. When in the last generations have we seen a $300 console? You know what I'm saying?
PlayStation, the first one.
No, I'm saying like
Maybe
last few
PlayStation 2.
generations, like the last few ones. Like I'm saying like PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, like those ones, like that for now with how much these things are now. Like, that's pretty cheap with everything that's that's
Yeah.
Sure.
it's not like PlayStation 3 was $600 when it came out. Like, it was
Yeah.
up.
Which was too much.
I think
Yeah.
Microsoft tried. I think Microsoft tried to do something like that with the Xbox 360 with the 4 GB version or the
Mhm.
512 MB. Remember when they released Ozzy? You remember this back with the 512 MB of
Yeah.
storage for the
Yeah.
360. Now we
Well,
all look back and like 500 MB. How the hell did they fit anything on that shit?
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
But you got to think about it too, Poppy. Back then, you know what I'm saying, we didn't have to install games. It just played off the disc. Only thing we had to
you're
really
right.
worry about was save. You know what I'm saying? We had enough room to save our game storage.
Mm-hmm. Now that's another thing. Like that's a whole lot. That we'll go on that in a second. But yeah.
Don't get
Thank.
me started on those 300 GB games there, Dave. Don't get me started on that shit, man.
Yeah. Well, like Dirty just brought up though, you were playing off the disc a lot. Like a lot of people that are still in the let's talk about a PlayStation first. We'll get in that in just a second. All right, Poppy, on the PlayStation side of things, the PlayStation 5 physical and digital. What did you think for that? Like price point, like is it a good price? That what you saw?
I think PlayStation, Sony's screwing over their fans. Foremost, I think they're screwing them over with yeah, they're gonna have a super fast drive, but be honest with you, I think only like games are actually going to use that to extent. Most third-party publishers, if they develop a game, like everybody wants to do this crossplay now, right? And
Mm-hmm.
the advantage that you have, if you have a fast load speed, if you're as you know this, if you have speed drive, you're loading up faster than your competitor. Okay.
yep.
Yes, the service try to limit celebrating and keeping everybody as even as possible. But let's be honest, everybody wants an edge. And so, if you're in the PC side, you're upgrading your SSDs and you're upgrading your PCI Express SSDs and whatnot to the highest you can if you can afford it. But Sony's gone. They taking it shit to another level on steroids, basically. But the limiting factors is basically the storage size. You're not going to have 768 gigabytes of space when they install that. When the operating system gets installed and the day one patches that everybody's installing, and then the reality is when you format those drives, you're losing large capacity. Who knows how much of a buffer they've given it? You know, and those SSD drives, they take about, I'd say, what, 10% of the drive for buffers. You know, for bad sectors and all that shit. You know, I mean, you got to take that into account. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a lot of people gonna be pissed off they can only install 1.5 games, because these games ain't getting smaller, people. And then also the pricing, like the discrepancy there, Microsoft just made them look bad. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, you can get the all digital with Microsoft, but you're paying $299, right? And with Sony, they're starting off at what, $399?
Yeah.
The basic. I just
let me note this though. Their digital one is as powerful, I believe, just as much as the physical one. That's where they got Microsoft a little bit, but Microsoft's is $100 cheaper too. It's $200 cheaper. $200. Well, $200 cheaper from the good one, but $100 cheaper from
So yeah, that's the thing. Okay, so you're getting the full experience there, right? Save for the installation, but if you're only getting 1 game, 2 games, let's say 3 games, you're only able to install 3 games depending what kind of game you're playing. Like games from Bethesda and Call of Duty, Activision, all that, those games ain't getting smaller, people.
And yes, we are reading the chat, Frozen. I just was listening. I was just trying to get people going of what they wanted, what we were trying to talk about. I was trying to get in with the podcast. I was gonna read your comments. And what's up, everybody in the chat? I appreciate it. Like I said earlier, Real Gamer, Deshaun, and Frozen. And Frozen brought up this thing about the expansion drive. He sent me the other day. The expansion drive to Xbox is $220. Now, you can't use another hard drive? Do you have to use that?
You can use the external hard drive.
Okay, because now that's another thing with the Microsoft. They have expansion drives. It's like kind of like it seems to me like kind of like, is it like memory cards? Like is that what it's like, or like?
I mean, that's what it is. I mean, that's what your hard drives are now. It's just like, I mean, that's what I mean. It's just it's static memory. It's a storage device. You know, you're storing data on it now, and supposedly the reason before that games are so big was because on your old school drives, the ones with the discs in them, they're spinning, the platters, you know, because of the low read rate and speed and time it takes for the platter to make its rotation. You had to basically copy and paste the same data across all the different platters or sectors of that program or that game, increasing the size of it. So and I think Mark Cerny talked about the Spider-Man, how they had to take the lamppost and use the same lamppost data across like thousands of times, 4,000 times it was in there. But the game size hasn't gotten smaller. I mean, I don't understand that. Yeah, I understand textures, but I mean, that's why you got all these nice ray tracing features and all that, lighting effects and hardware that can make the textures and graphics look a lot better. But
what's up,
I digress.
What's up? Shout out to the Coon 1985. Frozen also says you can't play games off of it. You can store games on it. That's what he says. Like I told you, Frozen, you could have came in the podcast, said you didn't want to. So thank you for all your information.
Wait. So he's saying you can store games on a regular external hard drive, not an SSD, and still play it, or no?
You can't.
It's because of the speed. It's not the same. The proprietary PCI Express disk that they're using is like, I think 4 times the bandwidth or some shit like that. Some crazy ass speed. And I don't think any of us can buy that shit off the Newegg or Amazon right now. And I don't know if that's gonna be for a while. So they basically got proprietary disks, and this is a way, I think, in my opinion, like for them to offset the cost of that console. You're actually going to pay, if you get the $499 and you pay $220, what, $250? Somebody said the price.
$220.
Think about that. You're paying $499 plus $220. That's what, $720 without the game, right? Without an extra controller, whatever you're gonna buy, and then you got to pay for your membership and all the other shit. These consoles are going to be a lot more expensive, and Microsoft is doing the same thing. Don't get me wrong; they're both doing it. And you know what?
And I think that's the Microsoft side. Now, Frozen, that is the Microsoft. That's Microsoft side of things, right? I didn't want to talk on that part because I didn't research it, and I don't want the research police coming. I'm just trying to talk about. Let me know that research police. This is not something I brought up in the podcast. There's somebody in the chat, so just so you know that. So yeah, he says it's a good panel. I'm just providing input from the chat. Okay, that's fine. Darkness Wiz, what's up, buddy? Who got the bundle? Did anybody on the chat pre-order any of these things? I know you tried. Dirty tried. I know Ozzy, you got one, right? But Dirty, you tried. Did you ever obtain one or no?
No, I didn't. I wasn't able to get one. I wait till the second pre-order. I just wait till launch day. No big deal.
Too, I do the same thing.
You said your local GameStop had 2, right, to pre-order, right?
Yeah.
Of the Xbox, noted the Xbox. That's crazy. That is nuts.
Yeah. That was crazy. Man, it was people in line pissed off, man.
Oh man.
What now, Ozzy? You did obtain the PlayStation, right?
Yeah, I did online.
Okay, you said it wasn't. You said it wasn't. You said it wasn't easy though, right?
No, it was easy because it was quick.
No, you were quick.
Quick.
Yeah. Okay. I remember you telling me that more. I just wasn't sure if it was easier. You said it was hard. I thought you. But there was a lot of people that had problems though. There was definitely a lot of people that had problems, and there was people scamming people with fake pre-orders too. That was going around. People got
people don't
out of that too.
That's horrible.
Yep.
I recommend people to just wait, man. I mean, they're gonna find them in their GameStops and WalMarts.
Look, stay off that eBay trying to buy an overpriced PlayStation or Microsoft console because there's no guarantee that person that got a pre-order is going to have this day one to get to you. They probably mess around and send you an Xbox One X box with tissue in it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Frozen said GameStop isn't selling digital consoles. I'm sure they're not. I'm sure GameStop is totally against this whole digital console thing. I'm sure they are. But I'll tell you one thing: Walmart isn't all them, and it's sold out. It's sold out. They all sold out. That's crazy. It's nuts.
Dave, I don't want to change the subject too much here, but let's go back to what 8 years ago when we're talking about the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 releasing and how companies are going to try to screw you over with digital only. Remember that shit? There was outrage.
We'll bring it up now.
Yeah, with the Xbox One, the regular Xbox One.
I preached for the longest on this channel. Everybody got mad when I talked about it. But it's here, guys. I don't care what you say. They are now selling digital-only consoles, and they're selling. And I don't care. I mean, I like physical, too. I mean, to me, it don't matter, but I get what people like about physical. But me and Dirty had a long conversation about this the other night. What the hell do you get with a physical game now? You used to get a nice instruction booklet. Remember those old Nintendo Zelda, like Zelda?
Full color.
Yeah, full color, told you what to do, and I just liked it. It made me feel like I got something for my money. What do you get now? Fucking blank. You get a fucking DVD box with nothing in it but a disc. Like it don't even look pretty. Like I guarantee you have those old Nintendo 64 boxes. Those look nice, and they had nice instruction booklets, and they were. And I'm just bringing up like they used to care. It's like back in the day, you got a Sega game. It had an instruction booklet. It was like just different. It was it looked like a nice item to put on your shelf. Like, oh, I remember those days. Look at that. I guarantee you put these fucking things on there. It looks like your Blu-ray. Like it don't even look nothing special. I'm just letting it just that little bit. But like the reason I feel too these consoles are going digital more is because they're turning into a damn PC. That's all it is. This whole thing, look, like we're not even talking about consoles no more. We're talking. look when Poppy was sitting here talking about the architecture of the PlayStation, of the Xbox and stuff. We're describing a PC. We're not talking about a console no more. This ain't no damn console. But I mean, I think the physical stuff is going out the window. I do. I think it'll still be there, like how it is at your local Walmart, where they have a really small PC section. That's how it is, and it's already becoming like that with physical, because you go to a lot of your local Walmarts, you go to a lot of Best Buys. Half time they don't even got the games there that come out. They may have just a few of them. My Walmart, Ghost of Tsushima, you can't even get a copy of it down there. The guy at work's been trying to get it. He only buys physical. He says, he said he went to GameStop. This is funny. GameStop didn't even know what the fuck he was talking about. That's crazy. GameStop didn't even know what Ghost of Tsushima was. I don't know who the fuck was working there that day. But it was a bad day for GameStop. Like, I'm just saying. Wow. But yeah, I do. I hope physical stays for everybody that likes it. I'm not one that's like, oh, I don't care much for it, so I wish it was gone. I'm not like that. I'm just saying I'm not going to sit here and just lie to you and say, oh, yeah, it's alive and well. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. But you guys may have different points of view of it. Bobby, what do you think about digital and all that?
I'm gonna tell you, I was one of those people knocking digital and shit for the longest time, but I'm not gonna lie. I like the fact that I can just scan from one game to another without having to get my ass up, my fat ass up, open up the damn disk drive, pop it out, clean it off if it's got fingerprints all over the shit from Doritos or whatever. And it's a hassle, right? Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, I like having something physical. So I am kind of disappointed. Like if I'm going to the store and I'm buying some shit physically and I'm giving you my money, I want something in return. I want to be able to have that item or that software and be able to trade it with somebody if they want to purchase it from me. Mm-hmm. They're making it so damn difficult now, almost impossible to be able to resell that disc anymore. You just purchase it. You got an empty box. That's what the fuck you're buying with a little code on it.
and you get nothing. Like, let's talk about physical game sales. After 2 months now, like physical games, like if you were to trade in Ghost of Tsushima in 2 months, you wouldn't get nothing of what that's for. Like, not even equivalent what you paid for it, really. You get like maybe $25, $20. That's all GameStop's going to give you.
But that's the GameStop. That's GameStop's problem right there. They're complaining about game sales being low, right? Because of digital, but reality, they're low because you're screwing people over.
Yep.
Why am I going to go trade my shit into you when you're going to screw me over, right? Give me $20 for somebody who paid $60 for it 2 weeks ago. When I can sell it to a guy who's saying he's willing to pay me $45 for it or 50, whatever. True. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, and all these applications on your, if you go on Google, I mean, you can find all kinds of like buy here, sell here type. It doesn't have to be Craigslist anymore. You can sell your games, and I found some success with that. Like with my PC stuff that when I upgrade, I can get rid of my stuff and make a better return on it than going to GameStop.
Well, then
GameStop's doing this shit to themselves, man.
We had G2K Games, a family. It was more of like, not family, but like a very small mom and pop kind of. That wasn't a mom and pop, but it was a little small franchise. They just went out of business. They used to give you about $40 for your game, $35. But the thing is, like, even Blockbuster Video, a lot of you guys remember that in the chat, or I know we all remember it. Yeah, but they used to give you a good price for your shit, but they went out of business. But like what I'm saying, like the guy down the street went out of business. I guess for them to stay in business, they have to sell it, really cheap. Like a lot of those places. And a lot of kids, they ain't gonna be able. They don't go on the internet and sell their stuff. They're gonna go run the GameStop and get ripped off. See, GameStop wants the kids to come in there with like 10 games, trade them all in. I used to do this when I was younger. I used to go to a place called Rhino Games. and they would give you like you trade in like 8 or 10 games and you get one brand new game, but you just gave them a shit ton of games, and they're gonna sell those games for damn near almost top dollar, you know, and that's what they do. These fucking stores, you know, it's unfortunate, but they do it. Dirty. What do you think about like now with the whole like digital thing, like the Xbox and the PlayStation? Now, say you would get the PlayStation 5 digital possibly if you were to get it, if you couldn't get the other one, right?
Yeah, it was a possibility. I was like 50-50, you know, on the fence on it. You know what I'm saying? You know how I am about physical.
Yeah, I know you like physical. I know you're all about, because you like to collect your records and all that, you know, but like if you were, like if the PlayStation 5 is as hard as they say to get it, if you know, we all know better, but say it was, and you couldn't get it, I have to ask everybody here on the chat, would you get the digital one, Poppy? If you wanted it. You might not even want the PlayStation. I'm just saying if you want it.
I'll buy it.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, you're used to PC.
If that's the only thing, well, if that's the only thing available, I mean, and I'm like the old dirty. I want everything. I want the whole fucking. I want everything, man.
Mm-hmm.
I want that piece of paper that comes in that box saying, what the fuck? I want all that shit in my box too.
Yeah. What about you, Ozzy? You went with the physical, but you're not with digital, right? I know Ozzy's pretty much not with digital.
No, I'm pretty much physical, you know, always. I care about my physical games, you know, my collection, you know.
Mm-hmm. That's respectable. I respect that with everybody. And for the record, I'm not against physical games. I'm like how I explained earlier. I just don't find you get that much for what you used to get. Like it sounds like I'm being kind of weird saying instruction booklet. More than instruction booklet. I know on some games you used to get a fucking map. You used to get the instruction booklet and a map or something else. Like you don't get shit.
Dave, weren't you the one that started that whole controversy on YouTube? And on this side of YouTube? With,
I don't know. I just know me and One Stop for Gamers used to argue about this shit a lot, and I'm sorry, it's here. It's fucking here. Like, I'm just wanting to see how it goes. Like, I'm wanting to see how like these families, like you were talking earlier, the mom goes in the store and they see little Timmy wanting the Xbox, and they're like, well, this one's $300, but this one's $500. For a parent, it's a no-brainer, but for a kid, it may be a life and death situation. Like, I'm just saying, like, he might get home under that tree. He's like, Mom, you got me the fucking shitty one. Like, who knows? But I'll tell you this. I got a PlayStation 4 Pro recently, about 4 months ago. I could have got it for $200 even, right? All right. The guy I bought it from, he says, hey, man, he said, you got an old PlayStation, right? A PS4? I said, yeah. He says, what about $100 and your old PlayStation? He says, my kid just likes to play Fortnite. He don't care if it's on a better running system or 4K or any of that shit. That's what I'm saying. And I made the deal fair. I said, $150 in your old my old PlayStation. I said, just in case it breaks, it's done deal. You know, I don't want to hear nothing. But I could have got that for $100. But he said it's basically his kid just wants to play Fortnite. He don't give a shit what the fucking thing looks like with resolution or anything like that.
Yeah, and that's why Microsoft got the right plan with it. You know, they have the right plan with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So okay,
I wouldn't be surprised if Sony drops that all digital a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, it's well, like Dirty was saying, we had a conversation. I think Sony lost the ball, lost their ass on this deal when they announced these prices. I don't think they wanted to go that low. Do you think so, Poppy?
Yeah, I think they're probably kicking themselves right now because that's all cutting edge shit. It ain't like back in the days. Like, I mean, I think the last cutting edge systems that came out was the 360, and not so much the PS3, except for their cell engine. But I think the 360 was at that time like it had the most it had better GPU and total RAM and everything. It was just better quality, higher running system that was much more capable. I think it was like the first DirectX 9C.
Yeah, they want the
consumer
third
chip.
party and the multiplat's better. It did. The 360 did.
Yeah.
You know.
So and then people bitching about the Red Ring of Death, man. That shit had fucking some high end shit. I'm kind of worried about these systems having the same problems. Microsoft over engineered the shit out of the Xbox X, but I'm kind of concerned about that being an issue.
Yeah.
Especially the first generation.
I hope nothing like that happens with the new consoles, you know.
And Sony, I don't know what the hell they got with that fucking ice cream sandwich design. I don't know how well that's going to cool it off, but I mean, I like it, man. If it lights up like that, I kind of like that shit.
I like it when it, stands up, look at the, for 5,
Well, they did two of them last time with the consoles. They had it where you could stand it up, and more people laid it down last time. I don't know.
I think both consoles look better, standing up. I seen how the X look laying down. I mean, it looks okay, but you still have that stand at the bottom. And I think Microsoft said that stand, you can't remove it. Now, the PlayStation 5, that just looked horrible laying down. Like, keep that motherfucker vertical, because it looks it looks terrible. Like the way the design that it is, it doesn't look right laying down. It looks horrible.
Yeah, it looks good staying up.
Yeah. Yeah, going back to what you said, Dave, when me and you talked. Remember, I told you, I said the reason why it took so long for us to get these prices is because these consoles was going to be at least 600. Now, I told everybody it was going to be 500, but how everything was going, these consoles were going to be 6. Microsoft knew it, Sony knew it. They was waiting to see who was going to come out first. So what I think is, this my opinion. I think Microsoft said, you know what, we're getting too close. Let's cut it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of 600, we're going to make it 500. You know what I'm saying? We're going to make the S, you know what I'm saying, $299 instead of $399. And since Microsoft, it was leaked, and Microsoft came out the next day or within a couple of hours with the video confirming, like, yes, this is the price. On PlayStation's anniversary, Sony couldn't do nothing. Sony was like, we was waiting on y'all to say 600, and we was going to undercut y'all. But since y'all went first, now Microsoft, Sony, like, goddamn, like, they scrambled. Yeah. It shouldn't have took Sony that long to tell you a price, because they could have told us the next following day. They didn't even have to do a press conference. They could have just said it the next day.
To old Dirty's point, man, you're right on that, man. You're 100% right on that, bro. I kind of got that. Just from how they answered all the responses, and I think, and they let some rumors go around. I mean, they leaked those rumors about them considering changing the prices on that. That wasn't some fucking fanboy coming off YouTube and saying, "Oh, they're going to reduce the price." I guarantee, if they see Xbox killing it, which, I mean, the way Microsoft is doing right now, I mean, they're going to have all the games, right? They just bought Bethesda. That's another fucking thing that we need to talk about.
Well, no, that was.
I heard there's rumors of them buying Sega. You know, if they own Sega, they own Atlas. And who makes Persona?
Atlas. Yeah.
So I mean, think about all this shit, guys. Microsoft has proven, and after they fixed the Xbox One, because they got rid of that stupid ass camera, right? Mm-hmm. And they upgraded them both. They gave you the S version, and then they gave you the X version, and people were happy with it, man. I'm going to tell you something. People are going to be very surprised when, their friends are like, "Damn, man, I'm playing that shit on the Xbox. Why the hell are you playing that shit on the PS5, man? They got better graphics. It's more powerful, better prices, and then you can get that shit on loan. You can rent to own if you can't afford a bitch. I don't think Sony announced something like that yet.
The thing with the rent to own too, not only, and I'm telling you, it's a good deal. I'm even considering, because listen to this, you get Ultimate Game Pass with that.
Fucking amazing value, bro.
That's a mind-blowing deal. Like, you're gonna have to pay for this shit already, so you can get Ultimate Game Pass on top of that with no interest, nothing. You're just, it's not a rental. You're paying. It's like you're paying the actual price for it, and you're gonna get it with Ultimate Game Pass. Like, what? They're like giving people consoles. Like,
how many
Xbox Live, and if you get an Ultimate Game Pass now, you can do Xbox Glass, whatever the fuck it's called, where you can stream to your phone.
Oh yeah, the XCloud.
The XCloud. Yeah, well, I thought they called it Glass or something. On the app, it was called Glass, or the alpha thing on my phone or something.
Dave, weren't you the one complaining about the controller? I mean, or you made a comment about the controller getting better battery life?
Well,
I'm gonna tell y'all something, man.
Thing. The new Elite controller has really good battery life, like extremely well. Like, my nephew hasn't charged it in days.
What about the PS5? I mean, anything on that? It's the same fucking controller, right?
That definitely needs to pick it up, because my PlayStation, I have been through more PlayStation 4 controllers than I could shake. They got to fix that. I hope they fix that.
That's bullshit, man. I'm telling you. That fucking thing dies in 10 hours, if that.
So basically, you have Microsoft that says, hey, all your controllers that you have, if you're a controller collector, those controllers will work on the Series S and X. Now, Sony is telling me that, hey, when you get the 5, that controller can't connect to the new one. I'm thinking, like, why? But then they said because of the games, it's going to be cutting edge. You know what I'm saying? Something with the triggers. You know what I'm saying? It gives back a response on how well, like when you draw a bow. And
haptic feedback or whatever it's called.
Yeah, but I'm like, come on,
stop it.
That right there lets me know that you're lying, because you lied to us already when you said that these great games that we've seen for Miles Morales, Horizon Zero Dawn 2, Ratchet and Clank, these games was going to be exclusive to the PlayStation 5, and they couldn't run on the 4. Now all of a sudden, when you give your event to give the price, now all of a sudden these games are also coming to the PlayStation 4. Like, but you just told us.
Think of this, 30. If they're taking these consoles, like Frozen said, and shout out to Miami Storms and this Nintendo gamer, Frozen said it cost Sony $450 to make the PS5. They're taking a loss on these on that. PlayStation is definitely taking a loss. I'm sure Microsoft is too. No questions asked. But Sony has 90. They're going to make the money obviously back on the software. Why would they skip 90 million people? You know what I'm saying, or however it's up to now for the PlayStation 4. They're not going to leave those people out. They're going to make money back on those people.
I definitely agree with you, Dave, 100%. But I'm going back to when I was a youngster, and when I upgraded from the NES to the Super NES. Guess what?
Yeah,
I didn't get Super Mario World on the NES if I didn't get a Super Nintendo. I had to get a Super Nintendo to get the next Mega Man, to get the next Mario, the next Zelda. Those games didn't come over also to the NES if my parents didn't, upgrade and got me the new Nintendo. Same with the Genesis. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool to do that, but you have to. No, what I'm saying, it's cool to do that because you don't want to lose those 90 million or 100 and some million people behind. But also, we're moving into the next generation.
Not giving people a reason to upgrade.
Right. For me, a person that been gaming ever since I was like 6 years old, 5 years old, you have to get me excited for your next console, because now I'm looking at it like, why buy a PS5 when all those games that I said that I want to play, Ratchet and Clank, God of War, they still coming to the PlayStation 4.
And this is the better part.
And the games are not going to look, and they're not going to look ugly on the PlayStation 4.
This is the best part. You can play it on the original PlayStation 4. You don't even have to have the Pro. You can play that on the original PlayStation 4.
That's what I'm saying.
That's awful. But that's the thing, like, like these things sold out so fast and all that. You know what? Usually I'd be sweating this shit. I'm not, because I can play all this shit on my old PlayStation. I can play on my not old, but I can play on my PlayStation 4 Pro, and you can play it on your old PlayStation or your Xbox One X. It don't matter. It don't. You can play it on anything for a certain time until they get to the point where they say, like, okay, the new Battlefield that's coming. But I'm saying the year one, I don't think of these new consoles, there's going to be nothing that you can't play on the PlayStation 4 that's worth that you really want it, like worthwhile. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, or Xbox One X or Xbox S, original S. You can play all that. That's what's crazy. I think what they're enticing you with is this 120 frames. And that's another thing I want to mention, which a lot of people don't know about. I'm telling you, there's people that don't know about this shit. Now, with these new consoles, and I was a little dumbfounded too at first. I heard about this USB 2.1, and I was like, oh, okay, I just bought it now. If you just bought a 4K TV like me, I just bought a 4K TV. If you want to play these new consoles on your TV, you can, but not at 120 frames. You have to go out and buy a TV that, unless you bought one with USB 2.1 recently, you have to buy a whole other TV, and that's going back to what Poppy was saying. This next gen is going to be expensive. It's not you just buying a console. It's you buying a TV. It's you buying maybe this new SD drive or what Frozen was talking about. The memory, the controllers, the games are going to be more expensive. They're going to be $60 to $70. This shit's going to be expensive.
Yep.
What do you all think about the USB 2.1? What do you think, Poppy?
I think you're talking about the HDMI. Is that
HDMI? No, my bad. The police don't arrest me. I didn't mean to say it like that.
I know, you better watch out. Them fucking weirdos.
don't play. Hey, granted too, I haven't done this in damn near 2 years, so you have to give me some slack too. So like shit.
I know, right? What the fuck? Yeah. No, I think listen, most people go Christmas shopping, and when they see a TV on sale during the holidays, they're usually buying a console with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I foresee some specials going on. I mean, especially if you can get the payment plan on the Xbox side. And I'm pretty certain if Xbox is successful with that, which I really think they are, with all that shit that you're getting, with all the Gamers Plus and Ultimate and this and that. I mean, shit, man. I mean, you don't even have to buy a fucking game because the damn services give you games.
Yeah, and you get exclusive. You get exclusives with that service.
I mean, shit. And so
day one,
if you want to experience the full thing, all out 120 frames and all that shit, I'm pretty certain they're gonna have like TV bundles and shit with it.
Well,
like
and
Samsung or LG
you do have other options now. You can go to a monitor that is a lot cheaper than these new TVs.
Monitor. You can get you a monitor. But if you want to experience that shit in 4K on big screen, like most of us like to do, I mean, it's like watching football on a little ass TV. It ain't the same experience on your phone as it is.
Well, the only thing is when you get into the competitive game side of things, I would suggest a monitor. I would. If you're competitive into shooters, like I like to play UFC, fighting games, like I don't, even though these TVs do 2.1, these ones, unless you got like a real high-end one with low lag, what is it called? Latency, you want a monitor. The monitor is going to be the best way to go. But if you're a person that just wants to play and enjoy the beauty of a single-player game, I would suggest the TV. I would go with the TV. But the TV, what is it starting out? The cheapest 130 for this 2.1, was it like 600 and something? I know Dirty was looking at them. I think they were like, the TCL is making one. It's like 650, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's somewhere around there.
Yeah, so it's still up there.
I see them doing some specials like they did when they first launched the Xbox Pro and all that, or the Xbox 4K, the PlayStation Pro and the Xbox One X.
And I agree, but there's going to be a lot of people that are going to go out and just buy a 4K TV thinking that that's going to be the one that gives them the 120. Definitely do your research, people. Definitely do your research.
Yeah. Definitely. Do your research, people. Do
You know,
your
it's really
research.
good with that. Like Samsung, they'll put it on their box saying that, hey, this TV's.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
Samsung
true
TVs
too.
are good. Yeah, Samsung
Now we covered
are
all
good.
that. Let's talk about Microsoft buying Bethesda. Yeah, and what this means for Sony, like, and it's not only Bethesda that they bought. They bought other developers recently. Some that actually was developing games for the PlayStation side of things.
Yeah, Ninja Theory.
What was it called, Ozzy? Machine Games? Or which one was
Ninja
it?
Theory. Ninja Theory.
What was the name of the developers, though? Does any of you know? Or
Yeah, he said Ninja Theory.
Yeah.
Ninja Theory. Okay, yeah. And well, I know they said that they will still bring those games right now to PlayStation, like the deal that's done, but in the future, that could be a whole other ball game with other stuff, with other games, future games.
Well, I'm going to tell y'all something, man. I don't see why Microsoft would not allow those games to come out on other platforms if it's all about the Benjamins, right?
Yeah.
So what
it's all
they'll
about
do
money.
is look what they've done with the with the Minecraft, right? So Minecraft, you got to create what? You got to log into your Microsoft account and all the other shit. You're giving them your information. Oh fuck! Giving them your information, and they have access to your details and all that shit. I mean, they're just it's going to be a win for them because they're going to be able to implement those platforms on all those games. And if you want to play their games, I mean, Minecraft is probably one of the most popular, time wasting games out there. I mean, shit.
And that's
it's actually smarter for Microsoft to put it on everything to get their investment back as much as they can, and then later on, if they want to
that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's actually smart. I mean, that's basically the best decision. And what they can do is that the games will be a lot better, prettier, much better running on Xbox. I mean, you're still going to get a same
better on Xbox. They of course will make it that way. Yeah. But yeah, see, it'd just be crazy. So Sony's big things with, and I'm sure Microsoft, like Phil Spencer and them, follow the console war to a degree, and they probably saw like, oh, they think that they got all these exclusives over there. They probably are like, let's us buy something big, and what more big could you buy than Bethesda other than like Ubisoft? And we know Sony ain't buying Ubisoft anytime. That's what I'm saying. Like, what's Sony gonna do? Like, are they just gonna roll with what they got, or like, or do they have the money to buy stuff like that? No, probably not. What are you happy, Joe, for Bethesda? Microsoft getting Bethesda dirty?
Yeah, I think that was a smart move for Microsoft. They bunch of games, Fallout and Dishonored, Evil Within. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Evil Within right there, because you know what I'm saying, Microsoft got his own horror game now. You know what I'm saying? That can go toe to toe with Resident Evil, even though Resident Evil does come to their platform. But I mean, it's cool to have it under their belt. And all the other games that Bethesda got that's coming. But I think what Microsoft is going to do, I don't think they're going to have every last one of those games exclusive to the Xbox. I believe they're going to send those across the board, PC and Sony, because right now Microsoft is making moves, and they making some right moves. And what they doing, they about money. If they're a company, every company is about money. So they look at it as it's sold well on the Xbox. These Bethesda games, they sold well on the PlayStation and even the PC. Let's just keep the ball rolling because that's coming in our pocket. Ching! We don't have to make it exclusive. Why make it exclusive and cut out of that and cut away from the PlayStation money and the PC money? You know what I'm saying? Well, it's gonna come to PC anyway because they put everything on PC now. But if they could bring that shit to Nintendo and Sony, why not? I know I would if I was a company.
Well, see, the only reason that they wouldn't do such a thing if they don't do it is Sony's more of a green type company. They don't want cross-play really until they had to get it. they don't want this game on there. See, Microsoft and Nintendo are kind of forming an alliance. If you see, I don't know if you know, they're more friendly with each other. We have a better chance of seeing in Halo now, like maybe like Ozzy was telling me, you might see the character from Doom in there or something. You know what I'm saying? Like you might, or you might see Master Chief in Doom. Like, but you won't
like
see
a skin
Kratos.
or something.
You know, like
Yeah.
I'm just saying, not saying of Kratos, but that aligns more with that. But I'm saying like they've been friendly with Nintendo. Like I remember with the whole Fortnite thing with the crossplay when that first started. Like Sony didn't want to do crossplay, but Nintendo and Microsoft and PC, they were all doing it. They didn't care. They didn't give a shit. Like and crossplay is a big thing now. People like that shit. Like I can get on Call of Duty and play with people on Xbox. If on my PlayStation, or you can get on there and play with them on the Switch side of things with Fortnite. You know what I'm saying? Like it's cool. Like I like that. I don't know. I think it's cool. But this comes. So we'll talk about now. Ozzy, what do you think Bethesda with Microsoft? Do you like it?
Well, first off, I was surprised they did it the day before the pre-orders. I mean, that was a smart move they did. And on top of that,
it wasn't cheap. It wasn't cheap.
Yeah, $7.5 billion. That's a lot of money.
Was 7 point? I thought it was 7.8, but I could be wrong. You might be right, but it was up there. It was still, wasn't cheap. It wasn't cheap. Whether it was 7.5 or 7.8, it was not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
But you were surprised, and do you like the alliance that they have now? And
well, if you think about it, they always had a good relationship with each other, as opposed to Sony. I always think that Bethesda hates Sony because of their fucking ports of like Skyrim and fucking Fallout. They were like horrible ports.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I really want them to bring back like Evil Within and Dishonored to make another game. And if they be exclusive, so be it.
I love Evil Within. Evil Within is one of my favorite games, of this generation.
Me too.
I love it. I know a lot of people had a hard time playing it. They said the first one was hard. It's meant to be like that.
Yeah.
But the game was awesome. Both of them were really good. Really good games.
I want a third game of both of them.
What's their most profitable property? It's
Skyrim and Fallout.
Yeah, Skyrim, Fallout, Doom.
All the Elder Scrolls property, right? That's the most valuable to them, and it's got residual. You got residual income coming from that MMO and all that. They're still putting out content for that. So, I think. I mean, I've heard. I mean, I read actually, just that they're talking about buying Sega and all that, and Sega owns Creative Assembly, right? And Creative Assembly does all those 4X multiplayer games, or those 4X map games, like your Age of Empires and like the Sid Meier Civilization game type series. Sega's if they're looking at doing that, I mean, it goes back to full circle, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, I think Microsoft owned Creative Assembly at one time before they sold them off. Right, so they owned them before, and during the Xbox One, towards the end of 360 era, they started getting rid of studios because Xbox One kind of flopped, and everybody was bitching, including next gen and all that. They were complaining about why the fuck Xbox selling off all their game studios when they need them more now than ever.
Yeah, they closed out Lionhead.
Yeah, it's like a reversal now. So I'm excited about it, man. I'm very impressed with what's going on.
I'm excited for the new Fable if it's good,
I mean, it's gonna be good. Like nobody can now sit here and say Microsoft has no games. Like that's bullshit. You can sit here and say, oh, it goes to PC only, but if we're talking just consoles, and you got a lot of Sony games going to PC now, like Frozen always tells me, like they're eventually. I don't know if you'll see Sony's like day one exclusives going there, but it could happen. It could happen. I'm sure maybe in the future we'll see that. Like when
I don't want that to happen.
yeah,
I don't want that
I
to
hope
happen.
if that happens, man, I'm sorry to break it to everybody. Unless you're somebody like me that likes UFC, or you like I don't know if Madden's on PC or like MLB. Like I'm just saying, like those type of games, sports games. There's no reason to get a PC. There's no reason not to get a PC. You're just fucking stupid, I would say, because that's one thing I want to talk about here too. Since anybody want to talk any more on this subject with Bethesda and Microsoft before I get into this one?
Nah.
Do you have anything to say?
One thing.
Oh, okay, Ozzy.
I don't need to buy a Bethesda game ever again then, because I gonna get it on Game Pass, and and I do hope they do make Evil Within 3 and Dishonored 3 and Prey 2, even if it's exclusive. Yeah, I want to play it, So.
Well, the thing too, going and that you mentioned this whole Game Pass thing. Not only can you play it on your phone with streaming now, right now I heard it's a little rocky, but it's working. But they're going to perfect it over time, like Google Stadia. They invest all this money in that just for it to run like fucking dog shit. But going back to the whole thing, like, damn, I'm sorry. I'm new to this. I lost my train of thought. So, Ozzy, what were you last talking about?
The games that I wanted them to
Game Pass. I lost my train of thought.
Game Pass, yeah.
And like I said, I haven't done this in a while. Game Pass. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a little. It's been a while. Game Pass. Now that they got a prescription service like Netflix of gaming that is working. I know PlayStation now Sony's got a PlayStation Now, but damn, not the deal Game Pass does. You can play it, like I said, on your phone. You could stream it. You could. You get all these games. You get exclusive games day one, like Gears of War, Halo. I'm just saying, like, you can't really beat that. And everybody goes, well, it's going to be on Game Pass, like Ozzy brought up. But, like, aren't they making a boatload of money off of Game Pass?
Man, they're making a shit ton of money off.
Yeah, like I'm sure they're happy with that. They're like, damn, we make like it's a subscription. So instead of having you buy a $60 game, they can get your ass on a subscription for $15 a month now, where over time it's going to be a lot more than that $60 game. So it's definitely a no-win situation. It's a no-brainer. Like it's no-brainer. Like, why wouldn't you do that?
And I think that's why Microsoft said that, we're not going to charge an extra $10, on our games. The games is still going to be $59.99. And plus they come in the Game Pass. So they making a shit ton of money on Game Pass. They don't have to up their games to, $69.99. You know what I'm saying? Because they already making a boatload of money off Game Pass. Like,
what's up, Andrew Tucker? Shout out to Andrew Tucker and this. Not
Andrew, what's
happening? Frozen says not only do you get Bethesda games, I forgot about this. You get third party, and you get EA games on there.
Oh yeah, EA is coming to Ultimate Game Pass as well.
It's crazy. Like, that's nuts.
You talking about Fight Night? That's.
I mean, you'll get EA's games. Is it day one? Or is it like maybe late, maybe eventually, whatever they have come out? But it will be on there.
Eventually.
Yeah, it's still not. I mean, you don't really have to buy games. Like, if you're not really like if you're other than Sony's exclusives, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're a Microsoft gamer, you won there, man. You won all the way. Like, you won on a lot of other sides of things with third party and Bethesda. Like, it's just a no.
I just like the whole platform they got going on there. The controller is much easier to deal with. It's got better battery life. Systems better integrated with all its services.
Well, take it back now. They are going to be on battery. It's the Elite controller I was talking about earlier. I don't know if they're not. Now, that's one thing I was not informed. I didn't look into that. I just want to say, I can't believe are they on the dirty? They are using AA batteries still, or are they using are they going to be rechargeable? for the record.
You know what? I don't know. I don't even think they even said anything about what the battery was in it.
I told you they're still using them.
I know it's going to have
They're
charging.
still using it?
It's going to be USB-C charging. I've seen that, but I don't know if it's going to have its own battery.
And
I
you
hope
can see
they
it on
correct
YouTube.
that. But it's like going back to like what we
controller.
talked about. I mean, they're just pleasing the battery companies out there. You know, Microsoft's got to deal with these fucking people like Duracells and shit. When you buy a controller, it comes with a set of Duracells, so they got some type of little deal going on with them.
Yeah, of course they have a deal with Duracell. You know,
I mean, I'll be honest with you. It don't like the battery life on a Sony controller is such shit.
Man.
I don't mind putting batteries in my fucking thing. I'm being honest with you. Like, I've never had that problem. Like, where I was like, oh fuck. You know what's another funny thing is if I buy those rechargeable things too for my Xbox. I don't have, I use both kind of. So it don't really bother me, that whole thing. I know some people are really bothered by that, but
you pay extra money, for the batteries. So
well, you're going to be paying a lot of extra money on the Sony side of things.
But you know what?
I mean,
but you know the plug and play for the Microsoft it's not that expensive. It's like $19.99, $24.99.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I don't know.
And Best Buy's got the same thing. You can get the Best Buy version. It's like $12, I think.
Yeah, like I got the one that I think I got mine. Now you're speaking that it's either at Walmart or Best Buy. I bought my charger. I bought a few of them of different ones for different controllers. I'm gonna be straight with you guys though. This generation, Sony was the worst with controllers, but I didn't have the best time with Microsoft either. My Halo controller broke. Another one broke, but I do play UFC, and it's like heavier on the controller. Like when you would spin the submission thing and all, I was pretty heavy on those controllers. Like if I was just playing a story game, I don't think it would have been that bad. But certain games were really fucking controllers.
So Dave, what you trying to make? You trying to make fun of us RPG gamers out there playing these slow ass games?
Well, I'm just saying, like even shooters, I think wear your controller down. I think they do.
I'm just playing, man. Hey, Animal Crossing wears the shit out of the damn controller. What are you talking about, man?
I'm sure. I'm just saying games like that are like heavy on any game that's heavy on a controller. It will wear your controller out for sure.
There's been a lot of complaints lately about the controllers with the joysticks on them. I think they're making them bitches die out quicker, man. I've replaced my Xbox. I just replaced my Xbox One controller twice in the last month. I bought one, and like the trigger
did they stop working or the trigger?
Yeah, it's like the trigger's all fucked up, and then the damn characters are moving by themselves and shit. And it's a fucking brand new controller. I'm like, damn, Call of Duty does this shit to the fucking thing. And so I got another set. I got the prototype, the version of the prototype at Best Buy last week. I'm gonna see how long that shit holds up. But yeah,
going now. There's so much stuff to talk about. I won't keep it going too long. There's two more things I definitely want to talk about. One of them is, well, let me say this too. Frozen did say Sony raised the price for the controllers. They cost $70 now. So they moved up.
I don't know about y'all, man, but controllers used to be like $29, or 20 some bucks. Yeah. And I remember when the PlayStation 4 Xbox came out. When Xbox One came out, that's when we all, I guess, we bought into these high cost controllers and shit. And then Microsoft made it a new revenue stream with them by charging you $10 extra so you can customize your shit. Like, man, I'm telling you, these damn controllers, man, they ain't nothing like the technology in the things ain't that damn sophisticated. Now, I understand the Nintendo controllers because they got all kinds of shit and technology in those fucking things. But Sony and Microsoft, they're using the same shit from last generation. Ain't nothing fucking changed. The fucking shit wiggles and jiggles and fucking vibrates. I mean, what the fuck, man?
Well, like going back to earlier with the controllers, supposedly I heard this was a big thing they were pushing these consoles with, and I haven't heard as of late. Maybe I just missed it, but I did see it when it was starting to talk about these consoles. One thing one of them want to do, or both, when you're playing a shooter, you're going to be able to feel the difference in the guns a lot better. What gun, like the Rumble, it's supposed to be a lot better in these controllers. Like,
yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. Yeah.
Yeah. And Sony going on the upgrade. Sony's sound was really bad on their controllers. I mean, not on their controllers, on their consoles. Since we're talking about controllers, they were supposed to upgrade their sound quality in this console. For the last few consoles, their sound quality was shit. I could tell this for sure because whenever I got on Xbox and played PUBG, it would you could hear everything. Like you were like, damn, and you get on Sony using the same headset that was compatible for both consoles, Astro A50s or whatever, and you would really have to listen. Like it wasn't like Xbox, it was so loud you couldn't hear the people in the party chat when you were playing, like the sound from the game. Hopefully they fix that. Hopefully. Their party now. On the other hand, though, I have to give it to Sony on their party chat. I find their party chat to be better than Xbox, but that's
yes, 100% yes. The party chat is way better.
Party chat, and I don't understand that at all because Microsoft's been doing party chat way longer than fucking Sony. So how the hell do you end up with a better one? It blows my mind. I don't know how.
I agree.
But going back to one thing I want to talk about, probably the last thing in this, I don't want to go too long because I was trying to aim for like an hour to hour and 20 minutes. We're at the hour 15-minute mark. All right. With these new consoles, everything we've seen, and I'm going to let Toppy go first because he knows more about this probably because I think he's the only one in this podcast that has played on. I'm sure you guys may have played. I have not played on PC. I don't know about Dirty for sure or Ozzy. Pretty sure Dirty. I'll see when we get to everybody. What like my barber? I was getting a haircut yesterday. My barber, he got into PC or has done it before, and he had just got an Xbox One X or S recently, and he ended up selling it. He went and got a PC, and he said to me, I was telling him about all the new consoles, and he wasn't following the news, but he was just hearing about what I was saying. He said, well, they're going to be at 120 frames. He's like, well, that's not good. He's like, my PC does 140, and then there's ones that do 220 frames like now. And then you got these new graphics cards for a pretty reasonable price.
Mm-hmm.
With Xbox basically being like, if you had an Xbox and you can play everything on Xbox, I think you can do the Game Pass. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I'm pretty sure. Just about everything on Xbox console, I think you can do on PC. And a lot of these games from Sony going to PC now too. That's the new rumor, and there is actual games going there. We're not sure if they're all going there, but we do know Microsoft stuff going there. Would it be better to be on PC now more than ever, or what do you? I'm talking price and everything. Is it more reasonable to go that way in the long run with the games being digitally cheaper on PC for a lot of them, better deals? I'm talking the whole 9 yards. What do you think, Dirty? I mean, Poppy.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Dave. Yeah, and I'm sure the other guys will have some nice, quality responses. The PC space is unique because you're not tied down to a set specific hardware. You can upgrade and add as you can, or you can afford, or as you want. You don't have to get the latest and greatest. Usually when the new generation of graphics cards come out or processors come out, that's probably the best time to buy. Like the previous generation, that's still good quality, still high end, probably better than what you got in your system, and it'll give you a lot better overall gameplay performance. But essentially, what you're getting with this is a short-sighted response from your barber. Uh-huh. So in order for you to have 120 frames a second, they're not talking about 120 frames and dropping down to 30 or 50 or 60 or whatever. When Microsoft is talking about 120, they're talking about you're consistent, you're steady at 120. Mm-hmm. So in order for you to have that kind of level of performance and for them to market it that way, it would be pointless for them to say, yeah, you're getting 120 frames per second, but the fucking thing dropping down to 40, 30. Digital Foundry is going to test all that. People are going to be like, fuck that. Why the hell am I buying these damn screens if the shit can't handle? No, it's got to. they're not going to market that as a feature, and they can't deliver. So that console comes equipped with technology to be able to perform at that level at a consistent, steady pace. When you're playing like fighter games or these fighting games and shit in general, you know, everybody looks for fighting games because they're consistent at 60 frames per second, right? I mean, they basically engineered it in a way that the system runs it at 60 locked, or else you would have erratic fights and people would be complaining about the fact that there's no steady, they can't properly perform the moves and they're at disadvantage. So the system has to be able to perform at that level. So for it to be able to do that, it probably can run it at 200 frames or whatever, if it really wanted to. But that's unlocked. So they lock it at 120, right? They vertically sync it or free sync it or whatever they call it now. They sync it with a refresh rate. So you're not having, mixed frames that are erratic or whatnot, but it's technically it can go above 120, right? But Microsoft's saying we're going to experience that 120 frames that you're not going to be able to get unless you got some super high-end PC, And I'm going to be honest with you, the games are going to look probably just as good, if not better at times, because it's on a console that was designed for, right? And you're going to have a better performance than you would on a PC. You're going to see it. It's like I was telling you guys earlier. It reminds me of the 360 when it came out. The hardware was so ahead of its time for that time in the industry that PCs that weren't able to perform at that level, and it took a little while for the PC technology to catch up. So games looked a lot better, ran nicer, and all that on the 360 than if they were on your PC. So I mean, shit, they ported Crysis over to the fucking thing, right? So granted, it was a little bit downgraded, but it still looked decent for what it was. And you go back and look at that shit, it's like, wow, that's pretty impressive. I think that for $499 on both sides, you're getting hell of a technology upgrade over what we got now. You're going from these little Jaguar CPUs to full-fledged desktop processor with a lot of horsepower, and
the Jaguars were shit. The Jaguars were shit.
Yeah. But,
so for I have a question for Poppy, for like $1,000, could you get a better running machine than this $500 machine?
No, you probably wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't be able to pay. You wouldn't be able to build it. You wouldn't be able to build it for that much. It's just because the chips that they're putting in these things aren't even out. I mean, you can't even buy those fucking things. This is high-end technology.
Chips. Yeah.
And not just that, you're getting some high-speed RAM in this fucking thing. RAM is not cheap. People think, what is it, 10 gigabytes, 16 gigabytes, whatever the fuck it is in that thing? RAM is not cheap, people. RAM is not cheap. So you're getting the split pools of RAM, right? Sony's doing that, or Microsoft's doing that. And you're getting the high-end graphics RAM, you're getting the high-end memory, you're getting extra cache for the CPUs. I mean, that takes up. I mean, that's some high-end expensive shit to manufacture. And then not just that, you're getting these high-end PCI Express solid state disks or PCI Express drives that they're not cheap. A terabyte costs about what, $100 something now, but that's not running at the levels these things are going to be running. These are PCI Express 4, right? So what's a PCI Express 4? Whatever Microsoft is selling theirs for, and Sony's going to be selling theirs for. I mean,
what about these new graphics cards that rolled out though? Are they are they better?
Well, and then the Xbox and the PlayStation, they both come with ray tracing hardware in them. Nvidia's the only one right now with ray tracing hardware that you can purchase, but look at how much that costs. Even for a mid-range or or low level range. I mean,
Well,
uh,
$1,500, somewhere around there.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, and they're talking about some high performance ray tracing. I mean, capable of doing that. So, and that, and to your point, I think that that is one of the features that I'm really looking forward to, because that really changes the whole game graphical experience. I mean, the games look so much more realistic. The physics, you know, you guys all saw that little demo that they did with the Unreal Engine, the
Mm-hmm.
next iteration of it, with
Which
the
that was great.
little,
Looked good
yeah,
when it did.
it was like it was just amazing how they rendered every little piece that you could see. Anything you saw that was being rendered. I mean, that's awesome. It wasn't just like a
Mm-hmm.
little static image where you put a picture on there and you call it a day. No, this thing is being calculated and rendered in real time by the chips. So I mean, your current Xbox or your current PC probably could do it, but not at that level consistency.
Mm-hmm.
So it's amazing the technology that's in these things. I'm really wowed by it, man. This reminds me, like I said, the 360 era and the PS3 era, where all this
Mm-hmm.
new technology came in, and the PCs and the Xbox or the PlayStation and the Xbox or the consoles were like either neck and neck in technology or ahead of it. So
I'll have to say, just what you said right there just completely turned me off of PC right now. Again, like anytime I get
Yes.
near PC, I just don't want something just pushes me right back, and that was it right there. That was it, just threw me back again. I just, I just, it, I'm a like I'm just saying, I never done the PC route, and somebody like my barber said yesterday too. The last thing he said when you get on PC, you're gonna be like, why did I ever not do this? Like that's how he looked at it. But you actually went into stuff and actually made it. He now, granted though, he has not been looking at these consoles. Though all he heard from me basically is that they hit 120 frames and some other things. Like he hasn't looked into it himself. Maybe he'll think like you once he looks into them. You know what I'm saying? So like he might be just thinking like the Xbox X, like stuff like that. But no. Well, that kind of summed up everything. Dirty. I'll ask the question. I mean, it's a question. But Dirty. Well. So you would say go the console route, Poppy, right? You would suggest console with these new ones.
I would suggest if you're tired, like if you're like me, you're tired of chasing fucking technology. I mean, I love technology. Don't get me wrong. I'm a fan. I'm just I'm just tired of having to buy and upgrade my shit all the time. And I kind of like now that the computer, basically the consoles are computers now. Now that computers and consoles are all intertwined, and basically it's that's what you're purchasing, and you're getting all that fabulous technology in a box,
For
and
$500 bucks.
you plug in and play. I mean, think about that, man. You're plugging and playing that shit into your TV, and fucking for $500 you get tomorrow's technology today, and you're not chasing hardware. You're not chasing driver updates and, oh, I got to download this new patch for this graphics chip that may or may not work with my game, and the shit's crashing all the fucking time. I mean, those new Nvidia cards that came out, the 3080s and shit,
Mm-hmm.
it looks like if you buy a third party vendor type, in order for them to be competitive with Nvidia and make some money, they had to take some shortcuts and cut out some of the capacitors and stuff to reduce some of the noise, or to filter
Mm-hmm.
some of the noise that comes from the electric circuitry and all that. And
Mm-hmm.
it's interfering with the chip, the main GPU, and it's actually causing it to like shut down while you're trying to game and shit. And I don't want to be going through all that. I mean, that's the thing, and Dirty and Oz, you guys are pretty familiar with PCs and all that. I mean, I like I'm not gonna lie, I like sitting in front of my Xbox or my PlayStation, just turning on a game, or running. I mean, you could basically multitask on these things now, and the way that Microsoft is multitasking games in the future. I mean, look, they did a little fucking demo where they had like 2 or 3 games running at the same fucking time. I mean, who the
Yeah,
fuck
Yeah,
that'd be
that was
crazy.
crazy.
can you
Mm-hmm.
really do that on the PC? Can you really do that on PC right now? You really can't. Okay,
No.
you can't do that on the PC. Don't get me started, little PC fanboys out there and shit.
The barber also said he liked that he could hook up 3 He said he hasn't never been on just like he can't remember the last time he was on like just one thing other than consoles. Like he likes 3 monitors or 2 monitors, one for this, one for that, one for that. Like he plays World of Warcraft, so he could like scout like one.
Why the fuck does he need a fuck? No wonder his shit does 140. What the fuck, man? You're talking about a 40-year-old game. It was fucking. They put that bitch out in 1989 and shit. What the fuck, man?
Well, you debunked the whole. I mean, people are always gonna have their opinion. Like Frozen, he always tells me about PC lately. He's got a PC since that whole GameStop deal where Dirty took a. Remember that?
I'm gonna blame Frozen. I'm gonna blame Frozen for breaking the bank, for breaking GameStop's bank when he took advantage of those promos and shit. He fucking stacked.
Yeah, but he's already said what it sounds like though. When you said chasing the hardware, he just got a PC when that happened, and now he's already looking to upgrade. I was like, that's what I thought. So you made sense of that. Now definitely brought sense of that.
And that was one of the reasons why I never went PC back in the day, because I knew there's always a new graphics card, more memory and RAM and all this, and it was like it's cool, but I don't want to have to keep shelling out money to get
every year. You don't want to do it every year.
Right. And if I want to get the best card, now I got to come out of my pocket as, damn near console money or maybe even more, just so I don't have to upgrade, in 4 years or something like that, So, I mean, I will try to get into, PC gaming still. But like I said, I still love my consoles.
Yeah, but Frozen, you said you haven't upgraded in 3 years. And that brings back the whole argument with, this is the last thing I'm going to talk about since you bring it up in the chat. This whole thing with the possibility of there being a pro model of these consoles like they did us this past generation, which some people think there is going to be, some people think there isn't going to be. And Frozen says, well, I haven't upgraded my PC in 3 years. Exactly, but you're wanting to upgrade right now, but you didn't want to get a pro. You're like, you were all against the pro thing. So that kind of defeats that purpose,
I see Dave.
Well, we all do.
Dave, that whole thing with people saying that this generation that's coming up, they're going to do another mid-grade console. I don't think so, because right now, we're paying $500 for these consoles, which we would have been paying more. So you mean to tell me the cutting edge that both of these consoles have? And Poppy already said that they're not the PC is not doing half of this stuff. Like the chips and stuff that's in these consoles are not out yet for PC. So how much will if a mid-grade did come for next generation, how much are we going to be paying for those consoles? I'm pretty sure it's not going to be another $500.
See, I could see Microsoft like having the money to do that, but not Sony. Sony, that's where I'm kind of weird with the whole thing, where I don't think they might do it, because how could Sony go out and do another console where they could barely pay for this one?
Because you got to give Frozen. They got to have a reason why they have to have another mid grade, because the mid grade this generation was all about 4K. It was 4K. And they wanted HDR, and it was something else. I can't remember what the third one was. Now, this generation that's around the corner, we getting all that and plus. So what else can they do in a mid grade for next generation? Nothing.
I'm going to give you guys an example, right? So just a CPU with 8-core CPU, right, or 16 threads. How much what is it going for? Like 250 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The Zen 2s, what is that, 250, something like that?
Sounds about right. I don't know.
I don't have it right in front of me, so if anybody's gonna double check that, go ahead and do that. Do me a favor and double check it for me. Frozen.
Frozen,
and then GPU, an RDNA 2 with the 40 clusters or whatever it has in it for the Xbox side. How many clusters is it? 40, 50, something like that. Um, you're paying anywhere between $399 and up. Now that's already more than what the fucking Xbox One X series or whatever the hell it's going to be called. That's already more right there, and that's not even including the RAM.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The power supply and the Blu-ray and the fucking the ability to do whatever it does with the ray tracing and whatnot. Um, it's and the hard drive that's in it. You know, the speed of that. You know, it's legit, man. It's legit.
Yeah, I
Like I
think
said,
it would cost too much to do. It would make, like Dirty said, it wouldn't make any sense because look how much of an upgrade we're going from the Xbox One X to the Xbox Series X. You're going from 4 teraflops to 12. So what are they going to go to, like 16 or?
And they're not equipped.
Like,
and that's the thing. People like the numbers are not the same, right? So what's the T-flop count on the Xbox Series S? It's what, 4 teraflops, a little bit over. That same 4 teraflops is not equivalent to 4 teraflops from the previous generation.
Yeah, and that's another thing that Frozen was telling me. It's not the same type of teraflops.
No, it's not. It's not. It's much more capable. One of those Zen cores probably outdoes all 8 little cores on that fucking Jaguar. That's how powerful that fucking chip is. This ain't no fucking baby ass console. This is some real deal shit. And it goes to your point, Dave. This is basically a fucking computer. I foresee, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I foresee fucking like these nerds out there. I'm not considering myself a nerd, but some of these fucking nerd Cheeto eating basement dwelling nerds out there that like to fuck around with shit like this. They'll probably put some shit together and take these fucking Xboxes apart and convert them to PCs. I see that shit being done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
Yeah, so it definitely answered all my questions. I hope you answered some in the chat. I'm sure. I mean, it's and going with this whole thing, it sounds like you're definitely winning if you buy one of these consoles. Like you're definitely not. It definitely sounds like Poppy and everybody was saying and how it's like Poppy was saying with the whole thing from Xbox to 360, that was a upgrade, and that's what they were saying. Now that this is stuff that they have been saying, that this will be a generation. You will feel this leap. You will feel this one, like unlike the previous one where we really didn't feel a leap. We didn't.
So let me ask you a question, Dave, and panel. Now let's say they just sold you the box without a controller. How would you think about the price? What would it do to you? You can use the same controllers from the previous generation.
Oh well, it wouldn't bother me then because I have bought so many Well, to be honest with you, I bought so many controllers. I would think it sucks, but at the same time, it wouldn't bother me as much as most people would.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. It goes here. If they didn't have a controller with the X, but I could use my previous Xbox controller, then I probably would still get it because hell, I brought the 3DS XL and it did come with a charging cable. So
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it wouldn't bother me as much, and it don't sound like it bother. Would it bother you, Poppy, or what do you think?
It would bother me. It would bother me because I feel like when you buy a system, it should come complete, right? And that goes to my point about the cost of each component. You're already over like close to 1,000, if not over 1,000. Just with all those little separate items. I mean, all that stuff costs money. When you buy a PC, it ain't just buying the box. You got to buy a power supply, a motherboard, the RAM, CPU, the GPU, a fucking controller or a mouse, a keyboard,
monitor.
And a monitor. You're gonna have access to that, but not just that. This thing's is it coming with Wi-Fi 6 on these things? Are they coming with Wi-Fi 6? I think they are, right?
The PS5 is, but not the Xbox. For what I
heard. Fuck! That's gonna mess up my damn gaming there, Dave. I'm fucked now.
So what does that make it? Like the Wi-Fi is not as good on the Xbox, or?
I don't know much about that Wi-Fi. Who knows more about that shit? I haven't really paid attention.
I heard Wi-Fi 6. A lot of these new consoles.
That'd be good.
Yeah, I'm still learning a lot. I mean, we're not gonna know until these things come out and Digital Foundry really shows. Like I told Dirty, I said, yeah, it's great. They're saying 120 and all this stuff, but let's see when Digital Foundry rolls out and how that goes. Like we all we
they're
don't know
hype,
yet until
man.
it drops.
Digital Foundry is hype, man. I've never seen them fucking fanboy more than I've ever seen them. Like these
No, I'm
fucking
just saying,
guys,
you
man.
got to see what these games run at. They lied to us
Yeah,
so
but
much this generation.
remember when they talked about but these got when the Xbox One X when the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 both came out, they're like, this is a small, slight graphical jump.
Well, they
And it's not
promised us
helped by this little
1080p.
puny Jaguar.
They promised us 1080p 60 this past gen, and we saw how that went. Like they were saying that,
Yeah,
and then we
and
saw
then we
how
had
that
games like 900p and still
Yeah.
720p.
That was Sony.
You know?
Yeah, that was Sony. Sony with their shit talking about. We can go. Remember when they said the PS3 could do what 10 triple flops or whatever the fuck it was called?
Yeah, they said a lot. They do promise you a lot, and sometimes don't deliver. But it looks like this generation it might be a good delivery. Hopefully.
4D, fourth dimension.
Yeah, I hope.
You remember that shit?
Captain 318 says PCs and consoles really shouldn't be compared, in my opinion. PCs are giant playgrounds for enthusiasts, and they know no boundaries. Yeah, but why we're comparing these, and many people do, it's because there's so much like a PC nowadays. Like you even have games that you can play on the same consoles now with PC, like Warzone, Fortnite.
Somebody said the grass was better on the PlayStation.
Player-unknown battlegrounds. You know, they all have architecture set up as a PC. It's the same shit. You could say that, Captain 318, when you were playing on Super Nintendo or N64 or like the original. Not nowadays. No, I believe they are comparable. I mean, if we're gonna run on monitors, you can run it on a monitor. It's very similar. Like, I don't know. What you guys think so, or am I crazy?
Yeah, I mean, fucking people are hacking the damn Samsung Galaxies and shit, playing fucking PlayStation games on the shit. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Everything's a computer now, guys, ladies.
Your phone, phones are like that. But it's like Jesus.
Mini PCs.
I mean, I could see if it was. It's not much different. It's not. I mean, not from the sounds of it.
Portable PCs.
I mean, you could even hook a key. You could even put a keyboard and mouse into it too. Like, Like, what are we talking here? Like, but what's up, Legit Gamer and Captain 318? That's about it. If anybody else has anything left to say, I went way over what I wanted. Not way over, but over and what I wanted to go. But we talked about a lot of good stuff and a lot of good information. So, Ozzy, you have anything left you have to say?
Yeah, what games did you like this generation?
Oh shit! Damn it! That's you just said. Well, this generation. Are you asking me or just what games did we buy this generation?
Yeah, everybody. Will it be first party or third party multiplayer or whatever?
I'll tell you one thing. I definitely go with your question. Like this generation, would I'd say be better to ask in that sense? Like, what did you like this generation? This will be the last one. Did we like this generation, and what games did you play the most? Did you really enjoy this generation? And do you think this basically was this generation a good generation with what you played and to tell the games you liked and stuff like that? I have to say, this generation, any type of new experience that I found this generation was battle royale games, which I did like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I thought that was a great experience. It was something different. It was the most fun I've had this generation other than UFC. Other than that, this generation, I was let down, period. I did like games like Evil Within and stuff, but they were very far and few between. Like Alien Isolation was my most favorite game this generation, besides Evil Within and stuff like single player. Mm-hmm. But for online games, I thought PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds was awesome. We played that for 3 years straight. We played on Xbox and we played one over the PlayStation. And I didn't get into Fortnite much. I played Apex a little bit. Warzone's very good. You know, I've been playing that with my nephew the other night. But overall, this generation, I was kind of let down. I didn't think it was a good generation, really, other than those experiences. What about you, Dirty?
This generation, I mean, this generation was okay. Don't get me wrong. The beginning of the generation, you know, we had some major hiccups with games not being completed, games coming out broken.
They have
Um,
broken games, so for sure.
Like Halo, the Master Chief Collection at
Friggin'
first.
patches up the ass on every
Yeah.
game you get.
Mhm.
But like, I'm
Yes.
kind of with you with this, Dave. Like, I mean, this generation was okay. It's not the best. Last generation was cool. I mean, last generation we got way more games than we got this generation. A different type of genres of games. You know what I'm saying? Like this generation is like they was only trying to stick to like shooters and action games. You know what I'm saying?
They
It's
didn't
like
want to take a chance on.
yeah.
Well,
I
what it
think
was is they want games are more expensive to make nowadays, and they wanted to do what would sell. Not saying those games that other games wouldn't sell, but there was a good chance of certain games like that not selling and them losing a bunch of money because these games cost a lot of money to make nowadays. Like The Last of Us 2, even though it sold very well, you had a lot of people that didn't like it, but they bought it still. But I'm just saying you could have like a chance like that, making a game on that magnitude with how much it costs and everything, and it completely flopping. And they know that they take a chance with these shooters and stuff. There's a good chance people will buy them. But unlike there was one that flopped pretty hard. It was on EA. What was the name of it?
Madden.
Anthem. That
Oh.
flopped
Anthem.
hard.
Yeah.
There's a prime example of a game that they put probably a lot of money into and it flopped hard and they lost their.
But you know what? I always said I was gonna buy Anthem because I always seeing it, you know, advertised at GameStop for like $4.99 brand new or something like that. And I always said I was gonna grab it. But wasn't it something? Wasn't it just full of like microtransaction or something? That's
Yes.
why I kind of
A
see
lot.
that's the thing. See, that's the thing where EA and some of these other developers don't get. When you put out a game and you think like, yeah, this game's gonna be, you know, we're gonna make some money off this game, and plus we're gonna dig in their pockets. When you start thinking, yeah, we're gonna dig in their pockets, that's when shit flops.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? A game should not be bordered down with nothing but microtransactions. Every time you turn around, you want to add something to your character. You know what I'm saying? You got to buy something. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be like that.
A game you pay for should not be that way. They should like Fortnite and stuff. They made a boatload of money off that with microtransactions, but it didn't affect the game. Like it affected what your character looked like, but it didn't make a difference in gameplay. You know, like
Right.
fine. You know, I don't care. And they made money. Like they made a lot of money. They do it with Warzone and all them. But once you start messing with the game, like you should not have a game that's $60 and have microtransactions. Everything should be, I think, free, just about. But like when you start making a game like pay to win and shit, no, it's not. Star Wars Battlefront 2, that was one that it didn't do good at first. I think they fixed it. But it was built around microtransactions. Then you had Star Wars Battlefront 1. That
And
was
Battlefield 5. Battlefield 5 was a flop too.
Mm-hmm.
And Fallout 76.
Yeah, Fallout 76 really. I mean, they had a lot of problems with certain situations like that for sure. No doubt. Okay, so we got Ozzy, right? Or who went first on that one? Ozzy, you told your thing, right?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, Dirty, did you tell yours? You just, or was that was
Yeah.
just yours? Yeah. Okay, Poppy, what did you think about this generation?
I think this generation still is gonna continue on to the next. So
Well, I'm saying like we are going into the next generation, and usually you feel like it is over in a way. But like, what's your experience so far in this
it usually takes
generation?
a couple of years for it. Takes a couple of years for it to get going. I don't know, man. I think I've been impressed by just some of the experience. I mean, obviously I play all consoles. You guys know I'm a big Nintendo fanboy. And you know, Breath of the Wild was a fucking amazing experience. Imagine, I mean, Imagine that game running on Xbox or PlayStation, and they pull that shit off on a Switch. You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, you played.
Well,
I
and
mean, you
then
guys.
too, I'm sorry, I'm talking about like, well, yeah, you play Nintendo. I was saying we didn't talk too much on Nintendo this podcast, but we were like, what was meaning like Sony and Microsoft, they're getting ready to be done with their thing, like their side of things.
I thought so. I mean, a lot of people were let down by The Last of Us too, right? Right.
I think that could be that could be a whole. I don't think they were let down because I believe what Dirty you say why they were let down, because I solely agree with that. I solely agree with that.
There was a lot of games that people were let down. Let me go back to a couple of them, right? Was it Dragon's Born or some shit that was supposed to come out? That never came out. What was the other fucking game from Xbox? The one with the I forget the damn name, where the character was like destroying the whole fucking city, and then that shit came out and it was a fucking joke.
Crackdown.
Huh?
Crackdown 3?
Crackdown, that fucking thing. That was a joke.
That flopped.
How many years did that flop? So and I think
Sea of Thieves flop.
See it. Well, people still play Sea of Thieves. It didn't flop I'm
gonna tell you guys something, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of flack from my guys out there. You know, I love you guys, but Killer Instinct. I mean, you guys remember what the fuck happened to Killer Instinct? I don't. I mean, season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, what the fuck? Street Fighter 5.
Going back to The Last of Us. Last of Us did not flop. That's like money wise, and it still ain't over yet because they didn't release the online. But people weren't happy with it. But
that's what I'm saying.
It sold well. It sold well.
But people were disappointed. Is what I'm saying, right? Mm-hmm. The hype didn't live up to the reality.
Well, so let me just say I was trying to get Dirty to touch on it when I said that, but Dirty made a good point. He made a great point. I never thought of it like this. It was because people were spoiled and they didn't like it and they read that shit. If you weren't spoiled, you would not. I didn't spoil myself, and I played it. It was great.
I thought the game was. I don't think the game was better than the first experience-wise that I got from the first, but the second one was good. I wasn't disappointed with the game and anything like that. The way it kind of ended, you know what I'm saying? I wish they could have did it a little better, but overall, man, I'm satisfied with the game. I did not run to go see no leaks, no cutscenes, no. All these people ran to the internet to look at what's going to happen at the end. Joel got killed, all this stuff, and they killed it for you. You waited 4 fucking years. You mean to tell me you couldn't wait 30 more days?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't 4 years. It wasn't 4 years because that game came out at the end of. It came out the PS3. Remember?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. My bad.
They could wait 60 days, 7 years. You waited, but then you had to be ruined.
And you killed
it. Don't give me that. And don't give me that shit that you just go on the internet and you couldn't help it, because I go on YouTube and all that shit a lot. And I didn't get spoiled. And I even had somebody try to spoil it for me. Shot me a message that I read the beginning the first few words. I knew exactly what it was. And Dexter tried to do that shit to me. He got mad at me one night, tried to spoil the ending to the game. Me and him got in a fight. And he tried to spoil it to me. And I didn't talk to his ass for 2 months, but I did not read that. You know, I read the first few words. And I knew exactly where it was going. And I did not look at it. And then I did not get spoiled. So I'm not buying that whole thing. You got spoiled on it. You had to read that shit or watch a video to get spoiled. You had to read a bunch of shit.
So, old Dirty, you just spoiled that shit for thousands
of legit gamer. Look at him.
Sorry, you know what? Sorry, legit gamer. Now you got a reason to hate the game.
Now I'm sorry. Like we didn't mean to spoil it. Like I said,
you guys just ruined that shit for me. I should have deleted turned off my fucking headset.
I don't think you're wanting to play the game if you waited this long. I really don't. I don't.
I don't know, guys. I mean, when I was younger, I used to think to myself, man, when I grow up one day, I'm going to be able to buy all this shit and play all these games. And it's like the older you get, the less time you had to play this shit. And you'll play one good game, and that's a fucking game you play, even though there's hundreds of them coming out left and right. I can't keep up with it, guys. But I mean, back to your point, Dave. I mean, I was just naming off some of those
But it
letdowns.
wasn't hard to name off of them. It wasn't hard to think of them, was it?
Yeah, no, it wasn't. And you know, I think some of the biggest surprises. I mean, I think like like Ubisoft really kind of consolidated all their properties. Um, I don't know why I feel like everything they put out is Assassin's Creed now. Like they kind of like all their games are like Assassin's Creed clones. But Odyssey was nice, you know, that was good. But I my biggest letdown, and I think I touched on this before, guys, is how these companies just like they hit you over the head for some of these games to get the premium edition and the ultimate edition and all this other. And
all that means
by
nothing.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and you're paying all this money though, right? You're not paying just $60. You're gonna pay 120, 80, 90, however it ends up being, but it's not $60 and it's said and done.
Yeah, for 8 game stuff, it's not worth it. You know, not worth that fucking prices.
Yeah, but
you know,
but Ozzy, they lock some of this content behind that paywall, and then you know, but this is the sad part, man. Those fucking editions, the gold edition with all the content, but then later on they release another edition. Oh, by the way, there's some extra missions that we didn't release yet. Here, pay another $20.
Yeah,
I don't like that shit.
Destiny was. I know a lot of people was let down from Destiny. I wasn't so much let down because I played it. I don't think it was right anything they did, and I can understand totally people being let down. But I played it later on. It wasn't a bad game once it got going, but it was a bullshit game in the beginning. It was. I can't deny that.
What let me down was the pricing of the games. Just did not live up to the games aging well. Like when the games were out for a month or two, they went from $60 to $20 like that. And it's like if you bought the who was the guys that bought I'm gonna say who were the fools to buy the Order 1886 and got the
I bought it. I liked it. I did like it. I liked the game.
No. Get this. The statue edition.
Oh,
that
no,
was like
no. Statue.
I forgot there was a statue to that game. You know what? I need Sony to bring a sequel.
But
I would like a sequel because
that game. They said that game was like. They said that game was like 18 minutes and 86 seconds.
That'd be terrible if it was.
No, you know what? What I'm saying, it wasn't a perfect game, you know what I'm saying? But the storyline was good, and I would love to see it continue. I would love to see it continue. Vampires and werewolves, man, you can't go wrong with that, man.
No, what I'm laughing about is that people bought that game, right? They invested so much into it, right? And they were let down by the 18 minutes it took to beat the game. And and if you bought the fucking game with the statue, and they never made a sequel, like Sony was so embarrassed. You could tell they're fucking embarrassed about it, right? They're like, "Fuck,
yeah,
we hyped this shit up left and right."
I remember. I'm not going to mention his name, but somebody I used to do podcasts with, he was like going on about how, like the game before it came out, he's like, when a what do you call it, like a mug or something breaks, it's made of glass, so you're going to see how it shatters. It's like perfectly. None of that shit happened. None of that shit. It was a good-looking game, but that didn't go down like that. It didn't shatter. You didn't see every piece, just how it shattered. Like, what the fuck? Like, they sell you on a lot of that shit. Like, they will. They'll make it sound like the game's gonna be so great, and it's gonna look like this. And half of these games don't even have damage. Like, you don't even. I'm talking. We're not meaning by damage like a wall damaging or something. You know what I'm saying?
That's physics.
Like, Battlefield's one of the few games that does that. Like destruction. Like, you don't see like shit break, and they make just enough stuff, like maybe the front door will blow off, like, or something.
And that's what I was telling you. Yeah.
You won't see that in a lot. You don't see, like, you know what game used to be cool where you've seen a lot of destruction for its time? It was on N64, and you could do multiplayer, and they actually brought it out. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was on PlayStation 1. Not Resist. Ah, shit. I ain't gonna be able to remember the game, but you could shoot a rocket launcher at something and shoot the wall in multiplayer, and it would destruct. It was good damage on it. But I can't remember the game. I'd have to sit here and really, really think about it. And they did make a sequel to it. They brought it.
Wasn't it Red something?
You know what I'm talking about. It starts with an R, I believe. It's not
Faction?
Resistance, but it's
red something. I think it's Red.
You got it almost. Yep. But you know what game I'm talking about. Anybody in the chat?
Yeah.
There was a game that had full destruction, and it was pretty good for its time. Like, it was on Nintendo 64, I believe.
No. If I believe the game you're talking about,
Red Faction. Yep, legit game for Red Faction.
That was a PS2. That was a PS2.
PS2. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it was on one of them. Definitely an old game, but they did destruction right for the time. They had destruction, which you don't see but in Battlefield nowadays. Like, I don't know how you can't get destruction. And they sold us all that shit on fucking Crackdown 3. Oh, this is gonna the
power of the cloud.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave,
they couldn't even. I remember watching Kid Smooth shoot like a healer or whatever it's called, and it wasn't like fucking break. It wasn't even breaking. I was like, what the fuck?
I never understood when they kept saying the power of the cloud. I'm like, what the cloud got to do with the engine and the graphics and the physics? Like that don't make sense.
Well, I guess what they were trying to, like, I don't know, it's probably not, but it sounded to me kind of like how Google Stadia runs on a supercomputer, and something like that gave it power, but that would be streaming. So I don't see how the power of the cloud would give you that.
It offloads that. Yeah, it offloads that effect on the.
Yeah, is that right, Poppy? Is that like what they were aiming for? Or
yeah, because it goes back to, like we talked about, the CPU. We're so weak on it. Some even said, like Digital Foundry even said that the tri-core that the Xbox 360 had, and it was probably more powerful than the damn Jaguar that came on the Xbox One. How did they overcome that? Was basically what they were trying to do is server based, but it never happened. It just people, the bandwidth and
remember
people, internet connections and all that shit.
Frozen brings up a good point. Remember they were saying the power of the cloud was stronger than 4 Titans or something.
Yeah, I forgot who said that.
Maybe it was messed up next gen or something.
Hey, guys, I'm only laughing about it because it's so fucking hilarious. If you go back
now, but that's how they were selling you stuff. It's like a fight, guys. There's a fight this weekend. They'll make a fight. Like, you see a boxing match or a UFC fight, they'll make a guy that could never beat a guy in real life like that he's fighting. But they'll have to sell the fight, and they'll make the guy look like he has a chance. And they do the same shit with marketing. It's no different. It's no fucking different. It's all marketing. They have to sell a fight, and they have to sell a console. So they'll make a game, and they're going to make you think it does all this shit. It doesn't even do halftime a quarter of that shit.
But you see what those same guys that talked about the power of the cloud, and it's 5 times as powerful as 10 Titans, and you see where they at now. You see where they jump to now. You know what I'm saying? So I never understood like what they was talking about with the cloud. I'm like, this just sound like a myth. You know what I'm saying? Until I see it, then I believe it. But the way you talking, how it's just going to change the Xbox, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think so. I'm not into hardware like that, but that shit sound like a myth.
Yeah, and then Sony said 1880p makes you a better gamer. Like, I don't know. And a legit game or endless. Yeah, I will. Shout out to you, buddy. I will be getting Cyberpunk. Yeah, I will. I'm not. If I'm like I said earlier, like these consoles that are coming out, they're really cool. But the problem with these consoles in the beginning, at least, you're not missing out. if you don't like. I just bought a Pro like 4 months ago. Like I'm not gonna miss out on these games. Like I'm perfectly happy right now. But I mean, if I'm not gonna go kill somebody for an Xbox Series X if it's that hard to get, which I don't think it will be that hard to get.
It's not.
Or
It's
the
just
PlayStation 5. They're making it to where the pre-orders sell out, so everybody thinks it's impossible to get. I'll tell you this: I got a console every generation that I wanted. If I wanted
Dave,
it day one.
Dave, you got to look at it like this. You know, there's limited pre-orders. They already got this set up, so it looked like it's going to be, you know what I'm saying, less consoles on launch, which we know it's not. And then you had this COVID thing because everything had to be done online. You just GameStop is the only store that I know that you could actually line up or walk in and pre-order any console you wanted. Everybody else, they wanted you to be online. So this whole thing of shortage, just like Sony said, oh, you know, it's a shortage of PlayStation 5s and we're doing a raffle if you want to be one of the lucky ones to
fuck
and then they turned around 2 weeks later. Oh, we're gonna have so many on launch day one where you could just walk in the store and pick up one. Like, wait a minute, you just said 2 weeks ago y'all was short than a motherfucker.
Didn't you have to be the best PlayStation gamer to get like they're gonna go how good of a game like check your trophies and stuff with it?
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, how y'all turn around and say now y'all got a boatload? You know what I'm saying? Like, Sony be lying, man.
I'll say this. I'll say this: out of the two consoles, Sony definitely won this generation. I would say, hands down. Out of the two consoles,
they had the better
exclusives.
I think
this one coming up is going to be a different ball game. I do.
Yeah, they had better exclusives and marketing.
Yeah,
marketing.
They're not dumb. They're checking every box this time.
But you know what, okay. Dave, I know you say you didn't want to make the podcast long, but I got to bring this up, man. Now,
we're only an hour over where I was playing, but go ahead.
Right? Isn't everybody confused about you know what's going to be backwards compatible to the new console?
Yeah, and that's what
upgrade visual.
Yeah, I don't know what the
pricing.
Yeah, which game is going to be like, you know,
like that whole Spider-Man thing for PlayStation 5 just blew my mind. I'm like, wait a minute, I got to do what? I'm like, this don't even make sense, Sony. Like, just make it. Okay, I got Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4. But I can't get the upgrade if I put it in the PlayStation 5. I have to buy the Spider-Man Ultimate Edition that comes with Miles Morales in order to get that version of the same game that I got for the PlayStation. I'm like, hold on. I'm like, all this is just confusing.
Isn't that the Game of the Year edition?
Huh?
They got the Game of the Year edition now, right?
Yeah, they got a Game of the Year edition. Now, you put in anyone, if you put the original in or the Game of the Year edition, you're not going to get that upgrade to Spider-Man. You actually have to spend $70 for that Spider-Man with Miles Morales. Now, if you buy Miles Morales for the PlayStation 4, I don't think it upgrades to the PlayStation 5. I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on here? Like, why is I'm buying all these different?
They want to get you twice. They got to make that money back for selling this console so damn cheap. That's all.
Is Microsoft going to allow me to transfer my games like they do with the 360 over?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Microsoft said that everything is going to be.
Oh man, come on, man, Sony, you're fucked.
Yeah, Sony's making you pay every way you turn. I mean, Sony. I'm just saying this: if you like Miles Morales and stuff, I'm sure it's going to be the better experience on the PlayStation 5. I'm sure. Yeah, I can't see it being that much different, but it's definitely going to be the experience because they're going to have to. They're not going to make so much of a different game for both until they solely make it exclusive. We've seen this before with other consoles.
It's a side mission, I heard.
Yeah, I mean, I played Spider-Man on both the original PlayStation and the Pro, and there was a difference, but not. It's just the difference. It wasn't much. But you can notice a difference. But it's not a big difference to where I was like, oh man, I really lost out if I played it just on the PlayStation, you know. But if this thing's so powerful, are they gonna do that? Or are they gonna? the gameplay is definitely not going to change because it's got to be the similar gameplay for both consoles. Like they're not going to do something only next gen can do. Like it's got to be similar because it's on both consoles.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You're not. That's what I'm saying. You're not losing out. Where it would make me day one right now jump to this is for me because I play UFC. Now, going with Dirty's thing, if they said, because I've experienced this because I play UFC and this is why I got a Pro. I'll tell you why I got a Pro because it's 60 frames on the PlayStation Pro and the old PlayStation was 30 frames. And it made a big difference when you got competitive. 30 frames was the difference. I love especially in UFC with the ground game and everything like that. Now, if they jump to 120, Dave may have to go run out and get him a console day one. I'll go sit in line for 12 fucking hours. But I play that game. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you guys. Like lately, since my mother passed and stuff, and dog died, I haven't been playing games like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been in reading comics and shit. That's another reason why I guess I ain't so hyped up for next gen. I've been watching more UFC. I've watched a lot of UFC. And you work. Shit, you can't. You know what I'm saying? Like I only have so much time. I play UFC at nighttime. I play it for like maybe 3-4 hours, but that would make me get a console. Like I'd be like, damn, they got UFC now at 120 frames. But like Dirty said, they ain't even saying what game's gonna be what. They ain't saying shit, And that's kind of fucking weird because this is what they're marketing this shit with. This whole thing right now is 120 frames. Like, so is it all the games from last gen? But I heard. What I did read, it said select, like it's up to the developer, basically.
Yeah,
that's what I heard.
Up to the developers, yeah.
Yeah. So if the developer don't give a shit, you're gonna be playing at 30 frames till. Like I'm just being honest, if the developer don't care, they're gonna be playing at the same fucking frame rate that we're, that's basically what's gonna be. That would be your answer, I think. But yeah, that's that. But yeah, they're not giving you they're not really clarifying on that one. And this is the most unknown generation I've ever walked into too. Like there's so much questions, it's not even funny. Like we got so many questions on things. Like like we were talking earlier with the games. Is this going to be compatible to this one? Is this one? Are you gonna have to buy it twice? When are actual exclusives going to come out that are for this thing that is only on this thing? Like, there's tons of questions. Like, it's not like it's a different type of generation, but it looks to be better. It does look to be better for sure. Thanks, Legit Gamer. I appreciate that, man. What's up, Dad? Yeah, I see all you guys. Yeah, thank you for all sticking around after these 2 years of not doing YouTube. My 11 subs.
They're playing on that whole 120 frames, Dave, they're playing on that whole fanboy craze when they were battling each other early on in the this generation still, but when PS4 and Xbox One came out, how they were battling, my Xbox can do 60 frames, and then the game comes out and does 29 frames, and it goes up
that's
to
what
60.
I was saying. Like, are we going to see the 120 frames for sure, or are we going to see like 90 frames or 80 frames for certain games? Like,
no, I think the games, especially multiplayer games, they have to stay at those locked frame rates. They can't, because it's unfair for somebody. Like they get around a rock, right? And the fucking system is like running at 120. Somebody's running around and fucking thing jumping down to 25 frames. That's not that shit's not gonna happen.
I hope not. I really hope not.
That's the PC love. That's how PC games are. You play that shit.
Legit Gamer says
you'll have 1,000 frames and the shit drops down to 50.
Legit Gamer said UFC 5 was announced for Google Stadia. I'll tell you one thing about Google Stadia. I didn't get it over here yet, but my brother has a lot of dead spaces in his house. And if you don't have a stable internet with that, it's bad. It really is. It's bad. Like my brother has Google Stadia, but I haven't tested over here with a stable internet, so I don't know. Like he has dead spaces all in his house, so he's going to have to knock some walls down for it to work. So something. I don't know. You have to run that on Wi-Fi only. that I've seen. Maybe you can get it on Ethernet. I don't know, but I don't know. Yeah, I think Gears of War 5 is confirmed 100. Yeah, well, I know Halo's supposed to be confirmed 100. I would hope they would confirm
supposedly. Yeah,
I think the Horizon 2 racing game. I think that's supposed to be 120 as well. The Forza Horizon.
Well, I would hope that will look nice, man. That will look really nice at 120 frames.
Yeah, Horizon 3, Horizon 4 at 120 frames.
Now the problem with their Xbox One, their streaming service, whatever they're calling it, whether it's called Glass or Cloud, I thought it was called Glass, but I guess it's Cloud. xCloud. I saw a guy talking about when he was playing Forza on it, like racing games don't work well on it. Like so far, like it's the latency of the input and stuff is really bad. And it breaks up. Like that just came out, so they have to have more time with that. But I think they'll perfect that as time goes on. They definitely didn't pour all that money into Google Stadia and all that shit for it to not work. But right now, I would not. Yeah. It's not a good suggestion right now to get that stuff. You know, I mean, if you have Ultimate Game Pass, it's worth trying. You know, because you're going to get that anyways.
But the PlayStation are doing that.
Yeah. Sony's sitting over there not doing shit with that. So Sony's like, I don't know, like Microsoft, and they're making all these different advancements. I don't know. It's just like Sony, I'm sure, is going to do good, but I mean, I think it's going to be more neck and neck this generation than it was this generation. Or Xbox might be the winner. I don't know. It's going to be one of the two, but I don't think you're going to really have Sony beat Microsoft. If they do, then they got me, I guess.
So the Xbox X, like the pre-order sold out, right? For Xbox?
Oh yeah, on both of them, both sides pre-order sold out.
Would you believe that Microsoft had more available pre-orders than Sony?
I think they do. I do. I'm with Dirty. They make so much.
I think Microsoft had more available and they sold out just as much.
Yeah, I do. I think it's all a marketing game. I do. I think it's to make it. Well, if you have too much of they definitely don't want systems on the shelves just sitting there. You know what I'm saying? It makes them look bad. Like they don't want that. They don't want that. Remember when the PlayStation Pro came out and stuff, and everybody acted like that was a hot item, and the Xbox Series X, you were able to get them.
You guys been to the store lately? Have y'all seen like the Walmarts and Best Buys and
Targets?
But
they sold out. I think they sold out on pre-orders, but you could get them in the store. You could walk in. My Best Buy had 20 of them sitting up there for the longest.
Yeah, the Xbox station, the Xbox sections are wiped out, man.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
I think they're clearing that out to get ready for this launch.
Well, hopefully everything. Guys, like, I'm really surprised that they're doing this during this time, like what's going on in the world right now, like with everything. Like this is a weird time for console launch, I think, in my opinion.
During the pandemic,
I didn't expect them to do it here. I didn't. Yeah. I thought they would call it off and make it wait. But at the same time, there's a lot of people out of work, but they're wanting something to do, and gaming is probably a very good hobby right now. From what I hear, it's like doing really great.
Yeah, with a lot of people working at home and whatnot,
Yeah, so gaming is like definitely a thing right now. But at the same time, like I said, I thought they wouldn't be doing it with like a crisis going on. But who knows? What do I know? But yeah, that's about it. That's all. We're gonna leave it there. We went over time for sure. This is funny. I was aiming for an hour and 20 minutes tops, and I made it to 2 hours and 20 minutes tops. But it's hard to do that when you have a lot to talk about. But it did go well, and I was worried about this crashing because I'm running this on my phone, and that's another reason I really haven't done podcasts until other stuff's going on and stuff. And my computer. I had my brother's dog at the time that died, another dog that died. And it was a bulldog, and it sat on my internal mouse. It stepped on my internal mouse and broke my computer like that. So I couldn't really use it. So that's another reason I didn't really try this. But this works pretty well. So Frozen says for Poppy to hit him up he wanted to talk to you about stuff with, I guess, PC, about his PC or something. He was telling me. So I told him on stream for you, Frozen. I'll plan to do more podcast Sith or Endless Sith Wave. But we're gonna only do podcasts. I'm gonna do podcasts when there's something to talk about. I'm not doing, like I told Dirty, I'm not gonna sit here and do like a podcast next week when we just talked about everything basically right now. I want more information. Like, it makes it more fun to talk about it. Like, I mean, I did podcasts, guys, where I was like fucking just not like trying my hardest to find news. And we're talking about shit that didn't even make sense, like that you wouldn't normally talk about. Like, I don't want to sit here and talk about game standards. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about that. I don't care about if Sony made a bunch of money with this game. I'm not in the stock market. Like, like I don't care about that. I did that when I was like, this was a good podcast because you had a whole bunch of information that I have not talked about on this channel, and it was like fun, you know, like that's good to me. You know, like if it's every 2 weeks or so, or 3 weeks, or every month, come back with something to talk about, that's fine. But yeah, thank you, Ozzy Slide, or I always call him Ozzy Gamer. Thank you, buddy, for coming on the podcast, which I don't even know the name of this podcast is. It's a complete random podcast.
It's been a pleasure, Dave. And also one thing, I do want PlayStation to like make a deal with Konami to like get Metal Gear and Silent Hill, make some kind of deal so they can make a game. You know, and get Kojima to make.
Well, I thought they had Kojima in there. Oh no, they don't have Konami. They got Kojima. Okay, yeah, how about that? Yeah, that would be cool. I'm sure they're gonna go and buy somebody if they can, but I just don't know how they're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Not only did Sony have in this generation, when the PS4 came out, not only was their console much more powerful than the X original, but the price was at $399. And think about that, where they're at now, and how they're trying to 700 gigabyte hard drive with Call of Duty Warfare is at 230 gigabytes plus, right?
God damn.
You know, how many of those can you actually fit on your fucking game? And then they want you to buy a $250 hard drive. That's going to be hard to swallow for some
ridiculous.
I liked Metal Gear Frozen. I don't know what you're talking about. I like Metal Gear. I know Dirty liked Metal Gear. I'm sure Ozzy. So I don't know. I hate Konami. I liked the last Metal Gear. I thought it was good. I thought it was a little longer than it needed to be.
It was half finished because of what happened with Kojima and Konami and this mess-up stuff going around with them.
It's definitely a well-made game, and I'm still wanting to play. What do you call it? The one that came out with Daryl from The Walking Dead. I still haven't played that.
Death Stranding.
Yeah, I know a guy at work that's like 60-something years old that played. One of my customers, he loved that. He didn't love it. He liked it. I'll say he liked it. I didn't say he loved it. He did say there was some stuff that was really repetitious in it and hard at times.
Yeah, the delivery was.
Yeah, he said the delivery
but the
was
story is good. The story is great.
Oh, you played it, Ozzy?
Yes, but I haven't finished it yet.
Oh, okay. All right. Dirty.
Oh yeah. Thank you for having me, Dave. Good to see you back, man.
I appreciate you too. Yep. And Dirty was one of the first ones that I've actually did podcasts with. I remember there was a time on YouTube where nobody would jump on a podcast with you with like 20 subs or 30 subs. And that's what I had at the time when I started doing podcasts. I've actually been doing this for 5 or 6 or 7 years. To be fair, it was when the PlayStation came out. That's when I started doing YouTube. So it's been a while. But I had to take a break. But it was fun. I'm glad to get Dirty on here. And Poppy, too. It was awesome. I'm glad he gave us all his PC knowledge because I have no idea about that shit. And he explained it.
Well, some of it.
Yeah, thank you, Poppy, for coming on. I appreciate it. He's there. Might be doing something. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. You were cutting in and out. What you call it? Yeah, it was cutting in and out. You sound like a robot at times, so I don't
Oh
know
yeah,
what.
it's probably crashing on us now on my phone, so we better get off. But
But
thank you,
no, man,
Poppy,
thanks for having
for
me. It's been a
yeah, I
couple years now,
appreciate
right,
it.
Dave?
Huh? What?
He said it's been a couple of
Dave,
years.
Yeah, it's been
it's
and
been a couple
Poppy
years.
hasn't done YouTube in a while either. Like it's everybody. You
Yeah,
have
it's
to take
been
a break, man. I mean, like I
man.
said, you talk about mindless information after a while, like stuff like it's fun when you have stuff like this to talk about. I notice a lot of people on YouTube had died off because there was nothing to talk about. And now that there's new consoles coming out, there's stuff to talk about. The end of this generation was dull as hell. It was. It sucked. It's period. It was like
But
nothing you want to talk about.
Dave, think about how if you go back 8 years ago, right, when the conscious generation came out, and how people like basically demean themselves and destroyed other people's characters over some freaking games console. And now we're at this generation, we're starting over again. You think that's going to play out the same way as it did last time?
Say that one more time. Let me say it one more time.
No, remember how the fanboy wars, right?
Uh-huh.
And the fanboy generating controversy with each. You know, if you look back now, right? What was that for? What was all that about, really?
It's just like a little toy to say that your toy's better than theirs. Like that's all they wanted.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I'm on a better thing than you. You don't have this. They love exclusives because they like to say my console has this, and it's not the case this generation. It's really not, at least in the beginning from what I'm seeing.
No,
and if it does become that case, Sony's fucked because they have Bethesda now and they can make a lot of exclusives that people do want to play, whether they want to say they don't care about those games or not. I did a little test. Dexter, my rival in UFC, that I beat the shit out of him now, and he don't even want to play no more because I got better than that game. He was saying that same shit like some of them. So I was like, all right. I was talking to Dirty on the phone, and I went through his game list. I found 8 games that he played of Bethesda, and most of them he completed. So why would he not care about Bethesda? Just go look at their PlayStation list. That will expose them really fast.
Because it's not benefiting them to their console of choice. You know what I'm saying? Now, say Sony brought Bethesda, those same guys that's saying like, oh, who cares about Bethesda? They games ain't all that. They'll be telling you how wonderful, how brilliant the games that Bethesda make is. They'll be all over the place. But since it's not, since Sony didn't buy them, it's like Bethesda ain't shit. But you got 9 Bethesda games you've been playing, and you beat majority of them.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently you like Bethesda games, but now all of a sudden they dog shit. Like, come on, that's lame.
That's not
be
the
real
case.
to yourself.
It's just because it doesn't pertain to their little part of the war. That's all it is. And in this generation, it's gonna be these consoles are very similar in a lot of ways, and sometimes, and then when it comes to exclusives, if they want to make it that way, it won't be, but right now it looks like they're trying to get right now I can get on Warzone and I can play with my friend on Xbox, or you can play PUBG with somebody on Xbox or Fortnite. Well, some of these big games you can play with your friends, or there's even like that new cell phone game that came out, and it's not new to PC, but it's compatible with PC, and it didn't get big till it came to cell phones. That new game, what is it called? Among Us, I think it's called. It's a game that a lot of people are playing right now, and that's compatible with PC. Like you can play on your cell phone, or you can play with PC people.
Crossplay is going to be a big freaking deal, man.
Oh, crossplay is huge.
It's basically making this whole point for people like with these fanboy wars about, oh, mine's better than yours and this and that, and it's like, bro, it's the same fucking game. Stop it. Just stop it, please. Stop the childish antics. Stop trying to make yourself feel better because you got that piece of plastic over mine. Come on. Stop. This shit's
You had guys literally crying and stuff when Sony was losing games. The few that they lost, like what did Horizon come to PC and something else, and they were literally crying, like I don't know, like if you're that emotionally attached to something, like maybe you should try going outside. I don't. There's a whole world out there other than your video game console and the internet.
Can't because of Corona. You have to wear a mask.
Yeah, I mean, Corona's an excuse for them to be inside now, but like, let's see when that ends if that's the same excuse, you know. But this was a great podcast, and we'll be back here soon. Maybe we'll see how things go. I'm pretty sure I'll do another one, and
maybe in November when the consoles are released. Maybe.
Yeah, I might do one then. We'll do one. I got stuff I got to do lately. Like I can't be on YouTube all the time, dude. Like Frozen said something in the comments. He said, Dave, you could do 2 podcasts in a day. Yep, I did.
Dave,
understand.
Dave.
Yeah. I hear you.
Bobby. You hear me? Okay.
Bobby, yeah.
We got to make sure we do a Thanksgiving turkey podcast.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
Turkey cast.
Yeah,
for old time's sake.
I don't know where he's been. The critical hit. I don't know.
Turkey cast.
But these guys are coming out of the woodwork now. I guess I'm one of them. So like.
And there's another thing too. What's gonna happen with Black Friday?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I'm sure it'll go pretty good. I mean, I don't know.
I heard a commercial earlier this week. They was talking about that they was gonna have more online deals and stuff like that. So it looks like we're gonna be doing shopping online instead of going into the store.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah,
that is true, Ozzy. I never thought of that because everybody goes out and runs around and does crazy shit. I don't think they'll do Black Friday like that this year. They could, but you never, unless everybody's going to wear a mask and be 6 feet apart in a store that they would elbow each other and stab each other.
You know how long that line would be?
Yeah, and then you got people that fight over fucking toasters and stuff. I don't know if they can get that close when they're fighting, so I don't know. We'll see. Walmart takes that shit seriously. Like they're fucking crazy with the fucking shit. Like I don't know. Yeah, and they're like the main protagonists when it comes to like Black Friday and crazy shit happening. Like there's like I used to work at Walmart for like 3 years, and you'll see people get fucking thrown down. You'll see people get hit with boxes. You'll see them. They used to. They don't do this no more. I remember we used to pull the pallets out. And they would literally ring a buzzer, and and everybody go crazy. It was nuts. And half the shit they're selling is fucking. Half the shit they're selling is fucking junk. Like I'm just talking, like they put cheap parts and shit, and like
everybody 55 inch.
I lost my brother. He had a Black Friday. Be like, I lost my brother this console, like not this toaster. Like we lost our lives over this. So my brother's dead, but I got this toaster. No, like it's not good. Damn thing don't even work now after a week. No, it blew up on me. You can see that. It's crazy. Yeah, but let's get off here with a good podcast. Thank you guys. Till